at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Granger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Granger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Mother's Day, celebrate her with something truly special. At P.F. Chang's, enjoy a 5-course celebration experience starting at just $89.99. Featuring premium entrees like New York prime strip steak tataki, oolong Chilean sea bass, and lobster and prawn fried rice, plus the bold signature flavors she loves. It's more than a meal. It's a celebration made just for her. Reserve your table now and make Mother's Day unforgettable. Only at P.F. Chang's. Available when you dine in for a limited time only at participating locations.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Live from downtown San Francisco, this is 95.7 The Game.
Good night again, everybody. Welcome in on a overcast Saturday. A little drizzly, a little rainy out there. So what better way to get things going than to just saddle up wherever you are, driving around in your crib and listen to Sports Talk Radio. It's Dan Devone who's got you covered for the next couple of hours, next 3 hours. And we have got a plethora of things that we want to get to. First of all, Pasta, my man, Pasta, who will not only be producing, but my sidekick going forward here. Pasta, what's going on? How are you?
I feel like it's the Howard Stern show, Dan, and like he's got his sidekicks, you have your sidekicks. I can't be as good. I'm like your Robin today. How about that?
I need my whack pack. I love that about Howard Stern. He'd have like those 4 dudes who are just absolutely out of their mind. I need a little whack pack, you know, things we ever find a lull moment, some lethargy throughout the show, I can just turn to the whack pack and say, what's up, guys? And they carry me for 30, 40 seconds, couple of minutes until we get some more phone calls. Speaking of phone calls, it was interesting because when you and I were talking about the show, which was, about 2 minutes long, and you said, Dan, what do you want to do? What sort of guest do you want today? Who do you want me to get? What sort of tape do you want me to roll? And my reply to you, no guest, no tape, just you and I for 3 hours.
Wall to wall, Pasta. Wall to wall.
I want to bring it back to the people. So those of you that are listening, you are the sound. You are the guest. 888-957-9570. You know the drill. That's how we're going to carry the show. And if you don't call, well, then it's just me staring at Pasta for 3 hours. But Pasta, seriously, how was your Friday night?
Friday night was good. I finished up a week working the morning show, the morning roast.
Oh, dude, are you done with that?
One more day. Spadoni decided to leave on a Tuesday, so now he's coming back on a Tuesday. So it was a good week, though. Good week full of sports stuff.
No, it really was. And I'm excited to get into all of it because I want to touch on the Niners. We want to revisit the draft. I want to talk about Shanahan and what he divulged on network television to that of one Rich Eisen. I want to get into the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are front and center. Obviously, that'll bleed into the NBA playoffs. The Lakers advancing to take on OKC with their win last night. So we can get into the NBA, but also localize it with what else? When you get Draymond Green, you know that you're going to poke the bear, and it should have some people either calling in or evoking some sort of emotion one way or the other when you talk about what Draymond Green said that about Steve Kerr.
I agree with you.
And we'll get into Steve Kerr. We'll talk about what his future holds and whether he's coming back, whether we think he's coming back, whether this is a decision that is in his court or whether it's something that Lacob holds all the keys to all of these things, including the San Francisco Giants. Because as I understand it, we might be a little Giant-focused going forward here on Saturday morning. So we can maybe kick off with the Giants, another stinker. And anytime we talk baseball, especially San Francisco, I turn to you because you know this stuff better than anybody. Sam Lubbing, you heard me correct. My man Pasta, you're all about the San Francisco Giants. And look, there's not a lot I really want to get into, but we can start there. I mean, I can sum it up in 2 words. They suck. But why do they suck, Pasta? And obviously this team can't hit. But when I look at that lineup, 1 through 9, and I know we can point fingers at Buster Posey. Vitello, I mean, what the hell is he supposed to do? But obviously being a new coach in that position coming from the college ranks, people are going to obviously go after him. But this is just one of those, baseball is hard to figure out. I know that's sort of a scapegoat, but specifically, if you were to handicap the Giants and say, this is what's wrong with them, Dan, and just go through a 1, 2, 3, start at number 1.
Well, number 1 is they're not hitting. And it's not just that they're not hitting, it's that they're big guys in the lineup that they have money committed to and who are supposed to hit are not hitting. Rafael Devers, Willie Adames, Matt Chapman, Elliot Ramos for the first part of the year. He's come on as of late, but these guys just aren't hitting. And I think the glaring one is Rafael Devers, who has $200-some-odd million remaining in his contract, and he's the worst hitter in all of baseball right now. That's ridiculous. And it's an issue. It's a big issue. He's swinging through fastballs every single night. That's the book out on him. His teams are just throwing him fastballs, and he's not scoring anything up as much. And it kind of exemplifies what's going on right now with the offense. Last in runs scored, Dan. Think about that. If you're supposedly the best hitter on the team went out and signed you, well, the Red Sox signed you for 10 years, more than $300 million. You picked up the bulk of that contract, the 9 years remaining on that deal. And teams are going after you, but they're going after you with fastballs. I mean, what does that say about Devers? But the bigger picture is, who do we blame? Is it Buster Posey? Because here's what I would say about Buster Posey is that before him it was Farhan. And like Farhan, the big problem with Farhan is that, like, go identify stars and go get them. Pull the trigger. Stop with platooning 25 guys. We want to see some players that we can rely on 1 through 9, and we know the starting lineup the majority of the time, and go get some all-stars, and let's turn this thing around. And that's exactly what Buster Posey did. I had no issues, and I don't know of a lot of other people, that when he pulled the trigger on getting Devers, that was a bad deal. It was risky, sure as hell. It was risky anytime you're signing somebody up for 10 years. I mean, can you imagine this guy at age 38 doing what it is that he's doing now? You think he can't hit fastballs now? Imagine him pushing 40. But here's the thing. I didn't have an issue with it, but I don't know, Possum, maybe this is an easy out, but sometimes baseball, man, it's peculiar. Making the adjustment, covering the Warriors and doing Warriors this week, basketball is pretty simple. You got 5 guys on the court. You need talented guys on the court. Forget about coaching. Forget about ownership. Yeah, GMs matter, but you just need talent, and then you have a shot. You got to punch a shot. If you have 5 guys and at least 2 or 3 of them are NBA all-star quality, right? Major League Baseball, it's not so easy, right? Because it's so nuanced. It's so specialized. And you can fill out, I mean, look at the Mets, for crying out loud. Look at the Red Sox. Look at the Braves of a year ago. I mean, look what's going on in Major. Look at the Phillies. And these teams have huge payrolls. They got stars at about just every position, yet they suck and they can't hit. And sometimes it's just, I can't get my arms around baseball. It is a weird sport at times. Is that an easy way out? But do you feel me a little bit there, Pasta? No, I feel you. And I think it's tough to define because in Rafael Devers' case, you could struggle and you could swing through fastballs and not even know why you're doing it. You know, you could look at the stats and check bat speed and all this advanced metrics that are coming into the game and that have infiltrated the game, and you still won't have an explanation. And I think it's a different vibe from, let's say, basketball, which you do a great job of covering, and you and Evan have done on Saturday mornings before. You could kind of point to something on why a team's not doing well. Oh, well, they didn't defend well in the paint last night. Whereas baseball, it's like you could get shut out by a mediocre pitcher on any given day, and there will be no explanation about it. It's just kind of the way the the marathon works. It's a difficult thing to fathom.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see a lot of guys shoot 15% from three and then all of a sudden shoot 60% from three for like a 3-week stretch. It's just so ebb and flow in Major League Baseball. The only thing I would say, and I don't want to spend too much time on the San Francisco Giants, but this is a team, Devers specifically. There were warning signs when he was with Boston. I remember when he was with Beantown that there was talk when they signed him to that 10-year deal that there were people in and around that baseball team that did not think that was a good deal because he was, as they said, quote unquote, he was an old 27 years of age. And there were signs that the wheels were coming off of that guy before they signed him to that deal. And there was talk in Boston that they wanted to get out from underneath it, especially after, remember he had that terrible start to last season? And everybody in Boston was just like, are you kidding me, man? We got 10 years of this. And there was some talk of like, well, how do we get out of this?
Well, there's some drama too because the Red Sox went ahead and signed Alex Bregman. And they brought Alex Bregman in to play third base, and Rafael Devers, who was below average at third base at best, they wanted him to play first base, and he didn't want to play first base, and there's that whole drama. And then Buster kind of took on the damaged goods, and he was all of a sudden okay with playing first base. And I want to read you this quote from the Chronicle from Susan Slusser. And Rafael Devers, by the way, had not met with the media since April 8th. So he had gone 2 weeks without speaking to the media pregame, without speaking to the media postgame. It just had not, it was something that he was avoiding. Like visibly, I've been there, after games, he was just not available, nowhere to be seen. So he told the San Francisco Chronicle and other publications, quote, "There's no reason to be frustrated. I mean, it's my job. Every baseball player goes through ups and downs, and I do believe in myself that eventually I'm going to get out of this funk." So that's the key word. There's no reason to be frustrated. But Rafi, I mean, it looks like there might be a little bit of reason to be frustrated if you're Giants fans. Well,
and also this goes back to last year, right? So he wasn't good when he signed with the Giants a year ago. So we're still waiting. We're still waiting. And it's getting a little late, bro. It's getting a little late where we begin to get a little worried here. And so, the name that we don't talk about? Hello, Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison with the Milwaukee Brewers. Last outing? How about 12 strikeouts, 6 shutout innings? Dude's got, I believe, a whip at like 4, 5, 6?
2-1, 2.28 ERA, 30 strikeouts to start his 2026. So I think it looks worse on the Red Sox, to be honest, though.
Yeah, the Red Sox, but I mean, listen, he's back. He's back in the National League, and the San Francisco Giants have to look at that guy and then have to look at their portly guy, Mr. Devers, and go, what the hell did we just do?
Would you have done it again? If given the opportunity, would you have done the same trade at the same time?
Well, knowing what I know now, I'd say no. But at the time, to be honest with you, listen, I wish I could tell you I was one of those that's saying don't do it, but I was all in. I mean, I liked what it is at Buster. That's why I know we want to go after Buster Posey, or at least some people do. And getting Matt Chapman at third, re-signing Matt Chapman, is that a bad deal? Going and getting Willie Adames at shortstop, I was all in on that. Like, how was I to know all of a sudden the guy can't hit? He did give you 30 bombs last year, but I don't. Everything that he did, I mean, there's always risk involved, and certainly when you talk about the move to get Devers, that was probably his one high-risk move, but it was bold, and it was exactly what it is the team was thirsting for after all that time, 6 years with Farhan. And, it was just what the doctor ordered. So I can't, in retrospect, say I was against any of those moves. It's just none of these guys have performed. And if you were to ask me, well, why? Well, I don't know. That's why I'm turning to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look on paper, it looks good, right? It looks like these are, fringe postseason contenders. And what I mean by postseason contenders is a team that could compete in September for a postseason spot in the wild card. And, the Dodgers are great, and we know that the division, for the most part, is going to go uncontested. But I don't think anybody anticipated or could have even fathomed a situation where Rafael Devers is the league's worst hitter at the end of April. It just, maybe you expect some a little bit of average to above average play from Adames and Chapman. They're notoriously slow starters, Adames especially, but Rafael Devers, like, it just doesn't, I can't comprehend that he's off to this slow of a start, and it's kind of hijacking the Giants' offense in a way. I mean, the bullpen, which was the biggest question mark, Dan, is like the biggest bright spot. So, like, things have kind of flip-flopped. The biggest concerns are now all of a sudden the biggest strengths of this team.
Well, Walker's still a bit of a concern.
Oh, yeah, he's a bit of a concern, yeah. But as a whole, since April 6th, right, they're one of the best bullpens in baseball.
This is on the Boxer and Gerson text line on the 808. I know this sounds awful, but is Rafi telling his real age? Dude's bat speed has gotten very slow. Yeah, I'm assuming that he is 28, 29 years of age.
29, and I would shut that down right away because I think that is a little bit of a stereotype that is out there about players from the Dominican Republic, but with no evidence, there's really no reason to speculate. I
got you. I just remember Fernando Valenzuela was like, he was like 28 for about 12 years straight.
Well, Miguel Tejada was open about lying about his age, but I don't think that's the case here.
No. It's frustrating. And it's just, I mean, you get Buster Posey in there and you think things are going to change, but seriously, if I was to blindfold you and you had no idea who the GM or the coach was, and I was to take you back 5 years ago or this year, it's all the same thing, man. It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same MO. It's the exact same ineptitudes. It's a team that can't hit. And quite frankly, again, making sort of mental errors on the base paths. It's just, a lot of this is just inexplicable. And they've changed as far as managerial positions and changing personnel. And it's just the same damn thing. You know what I think it is, Boss, at the end of the day? Is that if you really, really, really want to be a different team, and this is easier said than done, there's so much parity in Major League Baseball, and there's so much unpredictability. I mean, look at last year. Last year was just insane. The teams that would go on losing streaks, then on winning streaks. It's like, what's going on here? I know that the Dodgers won the World Series, and you could say, damn, well, that's the most predictable thing in the world. That's the biggest payroll, and they just went out and bought themselves a championship. Well, partially true, but hang on for a second, because the Los Angeles Dodgers also have the best organization, in my opinion. Like, top to bottom, they are buttoned up.
6 prospects in the top 100.
Right? Every single year. And the team that the Giants lost to yesterday, who's on the other end of the spectrum, is always competitive. And they're on the other end of the spectrum because that's a small market team that has one of the lowest budgets, yet operationally, top to bottom, they know exactly what it is that they're doing. They are looking for a specific player. They do it a certain way. There's clearly a culture in Tampa Bay that you have to buy into. It's sort of like going back in the day and Moneyball and Dee Podesta and going back to our man Billy Beane and company, that there has to be operationally, just from top to bottom. And I know Buster Posey would tell you that, well, there is. But you can't just necessarily go out and willy-nilly and get guys and just have this eclectic group of stars. There has to be a common thread. And I point to that of Tampa Bay, the team that beat them last night. And every single year, despite, not winning a World Series, but getting to World Series and having all of these star players, every single year refacing that team and being competitive and doing it in a division that has all the beast, the New York Yankees in that payroll, and obviously the Red Sox, and even the Orioles can spend money if they want to. And so I think that you just have to look at things from an executive standpoint and just have a focus in terms of the way we do things around here in Tampa Bay. And the same can be said for that of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And for whatever reason, the San Francisco Giants, who used to have that secret sauce, I think, with Sabian back in the day, that they were pitching heavy. They would make things conducive to the ballpark when they had that dynasty of a couple of years back. But they've lost it. And I don't know, because baseball, again, is so difficult as opposed to that of the NFL and the NBA. I don't know how you get it back.
Well, to your point, I mean, the general manager of those cutting-edge Rays was Andrew Friedman, and he's in L.A. now. So I think that gives you a good indication of what you need to do, and it's a split of player development, and it's a split of supportive ownership with your payroll. And I with the Giants, even at the end of Sabian, never drafted well. I mean, after that big stretch of the Lincecums, the Canes, the Bumgarners, the Posies, the signing of Sandoval and Crawford and Belt, all those guys. After that, there's just really nothing there. You know, you had your Christian Arroyos every now and then, and some guys that just you really couldn't count on at the big league level. And I think Buster's kind of getting back to that. There's a few international prospects they have who are teenagers who look to be contributors down the road. But when was the last position player homegrown who you could really, highlight and say, this guy is going to be a big part of our organization for years to come? I know Ramos came up and made an all-star team.
Well, Logan Webb,
but I'm talking about position player.
Elliot Ramos.
But he's not even on the same level as your Aaron Judges. And again, nobody's on the same level as Aaron Judge, but hypothetically speaking, just the impact that they have on your organization for the long term. I mean, there's people talking about trading Elliot Ramos. So it's like, he can't be that guy.
Elliot Ramos, never have I have the most insecure feeling when I see a ball go over his head or there's a ball hit to left field that's not hit right at him. Like, oh God, like this
He's an adventure.
Bad. Yeah.
He's an adventure out there.
This could get really bad. He tried to play one off the wall. I think it was out in Philly. It's like, that's not the angle you want to take there, young fella. And it got past him. It's just, he's not good defensively. You're right. And I guess that's what this gets back to my original point when I'm talking about the Dodgers and I'm talking about the Rays, is that you sort of have to bring it and do it within your own, right? I mean, that's what the A's did for so many years. And then obviously when players got to a point when they were eligible for free agency, they couldn't afford them. And the Giambis of the world would do their own thing and take off. And then they would replenish these guys with new stars that were all bought into taking pitches and doing it their way, because that's the one system they had come up through. And so I guess systematically, that's the operative word, is that there has to be a system in place, top to bottom, with the San Francisco Giants. And maybe to your point that you have to give Buster Posey a longer leash, because if you're going to revamp the minor league system, that's not something that's done in less than a year or even a year or two.
Definitely longer.
Yes.
And I think to your point about the Dodgers, Dan, like in their current dynasty, let's call it a dynasty, that's what it is, in their current core group of players, there's a situation where there's a realistic thought that they might be in the seventh inning of this timeline of their dynasty, right? Some of their guys are getting older. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, they're all kind of getting up there in age. And if the issue is they're in the seventh inning, but I don't think it phases them, because Andy Paez comes up and contributes. And, a lot, they're just going to sign Kyle Tucker. And it's just something that the one thing I will say, and I want to get your thoughts on this real quick. The Padres were just bought by a billionaire venture capitalist. And it would be a very tough thing for the San Francisco Giants organization for him to pull a Steve Cohen and just invest the hell into that team and just make them have an unlimited payroll. And that's one more team in the National League that would have that advantage, while the Giants, who spend money, their fair share, but don't spend as much as maybe they should and how much their market says they should.
Well, I guess that gets back to my original point that you can't just throw money at it and expect to be good. I mean, the New York Yankees are playing much better this year, but they've been doing this for years under Cashman, and they always seem to fall short. The Red Sox just fired their manager. The Philadelphia Phillies, star-studded, and maybe the Phillies are just a case of where they just need to break that thing up, because they've been rolling out basically the same team for so long, but they're off to a terrible start until, of course, the San Francisco Giants come to town, and then they get out the brooms. But, you look at Tampa Bay, and again, it just gets back to you in baseball. Look at the New York Mets. Now, the Mets, you could say, well, you got a lot of players that had injury history, and that's just is biting you in the butt right now, especially when it comes to Soto and company, but Liriano, all these players that are out in that payroll. So I think baseball has proven time and time again, it's not as easy as just to simply go out and get the best players that baseball, the free agency market has to offer. But I do think that there's much more of a method to that, and the Los Angeles Dodgers are a perfect example that, we get the best players, but again, operationally, we know exactly what it is that we're doing and the players that we're looking for. And it's a blend not only of high-priced free agents, but also of our younger players that come up year in and year out, and we're able to replace whoever it is that we lose, and they don't lose a lot of guys. And I think it's just in Tampa Bay the same way, where it's just there's a system in place, and I don't know that you can just simply have deep pockets and go out and try and win in Major League Baseball. In fact, I know you can't. Just see the New York Mets. By the way, all of a sudden your room went dark. What happened?
We got these automatic lights in here, and I haven't moved around in a while.
I turned to my right, and I'm like, Jesus, Pasta left the studio. I'm like, what the hell am I going to talk about now? I'm knee deep into Major League Baseball, and I lost my life support. Because we're only going to do baseball for another 3 minutes. You know this, right?
I do.
And then we're off to the Golden State Warriors, and we'll get into the 49ers. And then we'll talk about all things sports as far as the NBA is concerned as well. But, yeah, I mean, it's easy to point a finger currently at the San Francisco Giants, and Walker blows a save. So I just think that they got to move him out of the closer spot. I know guys aren't hitting. I just didn't want to do the same old, Devers is a bust and Posey doesn't know what the hell it is that he's doing. It's just sometimes I don't have an issue with Chapman, Adames, and that entire starting lineup. It's just like, if you're not going to hit, I mean, on paper, you would think that's a competitive team, and I don't have an issue with the roster construct or Buster Posey. It's just that sometimes baseball is just really weird that way. And I don't know why Devers isn't hitting. I mean, I guess there was a bit of a risk because he showed signs of this a year ago out in Boston. But, I mean, again, I think all of us in the consensus were, yeah, go get Devers. Hell yeah, Buster Posey, man. Instead of just talking about these things, get stars. And that's exactly what it is that he did. But Posey can't, he can't walk to the plate and hit for Devers. Devers has got to do this. And so what do you do?
He actually might have better success if he did that right now. But
well, that's just it, is that the Giants need stars, right? They need another. Listen, they were pitching dominant, but they also had a Buster Posey. They had a Brandon Crawford. They got to find stars, not just good players, but they got to find at least give me one all-star, one bona fide dude who's hitting over 300, who's giving me 25 to 30 bombs. Give me at least one or two of those guys. Like every year we're just settling and we're lowering that bar. Well, he's good. He's okay. Oh, it's okay seems to be a completely different standard here in San Francisco as opposed to other competitive teams. Go get a star. And we thought it was Devers. All right. Giants are struggling, and I'm done with it. If you want to talk more about the San Francisco Giants, call Pasta. I'll give you his personal line. You can text the hell out of him. But from this point forward, we'll go Warriors, and we'll go Niners. I want to dive into the Golden State Warriors. I can't hold back any longer. If you know and you listen to the show at all, you know I'm a little outspoken about Draymond Green, and this obviously today is not going to be any different. We'll continue to talk about the Warriors. We'll get into the San Francisco 49ers, all that and much more. It's Dan Avone here on 95.7 The Game.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55-plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Oak Cliff Speed Test Intelligence Data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
95.7 The Game is proud to support Drawbridge and the Aragon Foundation on the Bridging Creative Possibilities Gala, May 9th in San Francisco. Join us for live music, dancing, and an art auction with proceeds that help fund music and art education. For tickets, head to 957thegame.com.
My dad passed away unexpectedly unexpectedly. Of course, it was awful in every way, but we are very grateful that he had life insurance. So even after he was gone, he was still able to provide for us. And that's why I have life insurance for my family. Ethos.com. They make it fast and easy to get covered. It's 100% online. You get a quote in seconds, and you can apply in minutes. You get covered the same day.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/protect. That's ethos.com/protect. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required. Rates may vary.
They're back. Logic and G-Eazy are hitting the road with their Endless Summer Tour Part 2. They'll be making a stop at Shoreline Amphitheater on October 28th. Buy tickets at livenation.com. And for your chance to win tickets, courtesy of Live Nation, visit 957thegame.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Granger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature-Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature-Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Granger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Granger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I am grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Now back to 95.7 The Game.
Pasa, before we get off of baseball, got to throw a little love. Listen, if you want it, for those of you in the Bay Area that still remember a team called the Oakland Athletics, and you want a team that's over 500, if you still have an allegiance for that team, and you want to cheer for a winner, team leads the American League West.
Do you know that somebody called the morning show yesterday, somebody in the East Bay, I should mention, and asked why we don't talk about the A's? And I said, well, they're not in our market anymore. And the guy didn't want to hear it. So maybe it's something to think about.
Sutter Health Park, the location in West Sacramento, the home of your Oakland Athletics.
Yeah.
Actually, what are they called these days?
They're just called the Athletics.
All right.
But I believe they have new Sacramento uniforms. Let's say Sacramento going across. So
they had to just play out a Big Rec. Did you ever play out there?
Where's that?
Big Rec. Are you kidding me?
In Sacramento?
No, in the city.
Oh, yeah.
Golden Gate Park.
Yeah, that would be incredible. I know. You know what they play at that field? Because I know where you're talking about. I thought you were talking about
it's
a place in Sacramento.
Endless left field and center.
Exactly.
There's no fence.
There's actually, and I was going to do a story on this in college, and I never got around to doing it. But they have 1880s style baseball that they play every so often on that field.
That's right.
There's a whole league, and they go and play like every Saturday or something. And they have no gloves, and they have the uniforms, and they act like players from the 1880s. And it's kind of cool.
I was driving by there yesterday, as a matter of fact, and I always make a point of it to, just crane my neck and look over the hedges as I'm driving by to see this time of the year who might be playing. And sure enough, a couple of high schools going after it. I don't know who it was. I didn't recognize St. Ignatius out there, but Big Rec used to be the location for high school baseball. 888-957-9570 if you have any Big Rec knowledge or if you did anything at Big Rec. Big Rec was one of those that, listen, if somebody had power, you could literally play him like 600 feet away and have everything in front of you because it was like a meadow, It was just, you could run forever. It was just nothing but green grass, but a good field. Big Rec was just... Like Big Rec was making it to Yankee Stadium when you were a kid. When I was growing up, if you made it to Big Rec, it's like, yeah, man, you made it to the majors. Big Rec was a big deal.
There's a field in the Presidio, too, that I played at.
Pop Picks.
No.
It had a fence.
It had a fence, and it was called something else. It was named after a person, and I'm blanking on what it was called. But a lot of the high schools...
really small, right?
Yeah, a lot of the high schools are passing up Big Rec and school fields like it for Oracle Park these days.
No, I would get that. Yeah.
Yesterday, Half Moon Bay High School played Sequoia at Oracle Park, and a lot of stuff going on there with the high schools. They're not playing at Big Rec anymore.
Well, it'd be nice if San Francisco was to build a stadium for. I'm not talking a professional stadium, but just sort of like at the high school level where it would have I don't know what are good dimensions for high school, like 310 down the line.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit longer in center field.
Yeah, maybe 375 straight away, 350 to the alleys. But if you had just a small little intimate, I've never grown up with that. I don't know if they have that in other cities. All I know is San Francisco. I know they don't have a lot of that in New York. But it'd be nice just to have a nice little intimate stadium that was conducive specifically for high school baseball. Because all we had was Big Rec. You made it to Big Rec, and it was a big, big deal.
I have an idea.
What's up?
Candlestick Point. Put a field out there because there ain't no shopping mall going out there anytime soon. Put a field out there.
We already made that mistake once, though. Who the hell wants to go?
Make it again.
I miss the Stick, man. That was back in the day, man. I would go out to the Stick, and that team used to suck, and my buddy's father had box seats. And we would go out there and we would sell those tickets and go right back into the city and do whatever, man. But
I never went.
You never made it to the Stick?
I was too young for baseball, and I never made it out for a 49er game.
Wow. You missed out on a slice of life here in San Francisco when it comes to sports.
I did hear about the bathrooms, though.
What about them?
What are they called? The troughs?
They don't, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
My uncles would tell me stories about the troughs.
You could swim laps in those things. They were disgusting. When you think about the Stick back in the day, it was so miserable, but it's a part of growing up, man. They used to have something called the Crow the Candlestick. You know what this was, Pasta?
Where you would get the pin after some of the extra inning games.
Yeah, if you were able to brave an extra inning game for a bad baseball team in terrible conditions, they would basically give you a Purple Heart as you exited the stadium. You got this little button that said, thank you for being able to withstand these conditions. I mean, things are bad when the marketing department comes up with something like that. That and the crazy crap. It's just like, look, we may as well just laugh at ourselves.
Where there's that tale where, like, when they looked at it to build it, before the Giants came out west, they only looked at it during the day. They did not know what it was going to be like at night. Boy, did we find out. Just ask the hot dog wrappers.
That's hilarious. That is, I had no idea. That's why you're the sidekick, man. You come up with knowledge that I thought I knew everything about Candlestick, but I had no idea. They never had any idea what it would be like when the sun goes down. Yeah, it is entirely different.
Wow.
And then, of course, the summer months here in San Francisco and that part of the world is just absolutely brutal. All right, done with the Giants. Candlestick is no longer. Let's move on to something that is relevant. And that, of course, is the Golden State Warriors making a lot of news this past week. You know, it's gotten to the point. When it comes to Draymond Green popping off, I discard it. It's like I hear Draymond Green did something. I get a notification. I'm like, I sort of roll my eyes, and I'm like, what did he do now? You know, it's almost like the boy who cried wolf. I mean, this used to have a lot more impact a couple of years ago, maybe before he was doing his podcast. You know, remember he had that podcast with Kevin Durant, and he was candid, and he came out, and he said, you know, screwed us over. It's like management screwed this up, Kevin Durant. Remember that? And he went after Steve Kerr. He went after ownership. He's like, they handled this incorrectly. And he's, you know, obviously still employed and playing for the team. I remember that got a lot of headlines. But it's gone so sensationalistic these days, and it's just so out of hand. And now the stuff that he says is so ridiculous. He's lost touch with reality. I don't know if he's doing it for clicks. I don't know if Draymond Green is doing this because he's playing to a different audience where he just wants people to listen. Now he's part of, quote unquote, his new media. I don't know who he's catering to, but he's smarter than this to say that anybody was hindering him offensively. But Draymond Green, I just wanted to start there, that when somebody says to me, hey, did you hear what Draymond said? I'm like, what now? It's not immediately I go into it with sort of the understanding that it's Draymond Green. They understand the guy who's delivering the message, that he's gone a little wackadoo. He lost me the last time he made headlines, and he does it just about every 10 days, where he said that he's not a dirty player. This was on his podcast. And he had the audacity to say he's not a dirty player. And he supported it by saying, listen, you can't play for Tom Izzo and be a dirty player. I ain't no dirty player. I was like, bro, I will sit you down. We can watch YouTube together. I'll play 20 minutes of you kicking dudes in the junk. You are the definition of a dirty player. You're a great player. You're the best defender that I've ever seen. I like Draymond Green when he's doing what it is that he did to Kawhi Leonard in the second half of that game against the Los Angeles Clippers. But you are a dirty player, and make no mistake about it. Any guy that's on his back and grabs the ankle of Karl Anthony Towns as he tries to go by him, that's called a dirty play, Draymond. Maybe you've been doing it for so long that we got to redefine these things for you. But that's when he started saying, I'm not a dirty player. And then some of the ridiculous things that were coming out of his pie hole, I just was like, yeah, whatever. I don't know if you're doing this for the podcast, or I don't really know why it is that you're doing it. But I'm sort of like, I'm over it. But for the sake of Sports Talk Radio and the fact that, Pasa, you and I have got to carry the show, let's dive into what it is that he said this past week.
You want to hear it?
Oh, yeah, let's go. You know me.
As much as he's done for me in basketball, a part of me think he's hindered me in my career and what I could have become. You know, when KD came from 2016 on, I have not had a play in our playbook. Not a single play that we run for me in our playbook. This is 2016. But if you're going to take one gripe and not be able to move past it for all the other things, then you're shallow as a person. That says more about you as a person than it does about Steve or whoever else in that instant. You got to take the good with the bad, man.
Wow. And I know he's getting he's taking a lot of shrapnel for this, as well he should. And here's where I would start. When he uses the word hinder, you just lost me, man. The Warriors have been the complete opposite. Steve Kerr has been the complete opposite. Bro, and I'm talking to you, Draymond Green, You are not a Hall of Famer. You are not a champion without the Golden State Warriors. You might want to change that word from hinder to help. The Warriors have not hindered you. It's the complete polar opposite. They have helped you become the successful financial man that you are today. The Warriors have helped you get into the Hall of Fame. If you get drafted by anybody else, you ain't going to the Hall of Fame. You might be a good player in this league, but you're not doing what it is that you've been able to do because you've been helped by that of the Golden State Warriors. Nobody has hindered you at all. It's the complete opposite, Draymond, when you think about what it is that the Warriors and that relationship has been able to do for you. And it's just sort of ridiculous on so many different levels. But here's what I would say, just sort of in a general sense, when you're thinking about Draymond Green going after Steve Kerr. First of all, Draymond, if I was to do it your way and do it by the book of Draymond, don't we do these things in-house? Aren't we professionals and smart basketball players with high IQs that if we have an issue, we talk to Steve Kerr? Why now? Steve Kerr's at his most vulnerable as a Golden State Warrior head coach. Listen, vulnerable might be a strong word, but I don't know the inner workings of whether Steve Kerr right now wants to, and I'm assuming that he does, want to be and continue to be the head coach of the Golden State Warriors. But I think that right now it's Lacob's call, and they'll reconvene this week, and it sounds as though he might be coming back to the Golden State Warriors. I have no idea, but he is. There's a little vulnerability to him right now, and you're going after him. And I would say this, when it comes to Steve Kerr and the verbal dart that was thrown by that of Draymond Green this past week, this is the last thing he wanted to have happen. And it's not about him taking a shot from Draymond. He's used to this. And I bet you, Steve, and if he's on a golf outing, right? Steve Kerr with his boys. If I was one of his boys and we're on the cart pulling up to the 14th hole right now and we got some cold beverages, I bet you Steve would say, listen, I don't give a rip about what Draymond's saying. It's Draymond at the end of the day.
It's a difficult situation.
But what he does care about and why this is the last thing he wanted to have happen, and I'm talking about Steve Kerr, is that he didn't want this thing to end like this. Like the one thing Steve Kerr has emphasized to us time and time again is that regardless of what happens with him and his relationship with the Warriors going forward, Steve Kerr, and he's made a point of it to say this publicly, that regardless of what happens to him and the Warriors, Steve Kerr will thank the Warriors, he will thank them again, and he will take the high road. And he expects the Warriors to do the same thing because he wants this dynasty to end the right way. He saw firsthand, he was on the team in Chicago when Krause blew that thing up. He was on the team when he saw and witnessed the rift between Scottie Pippen and that of Michael Jordan. They still don't speak to this day. And I think Steve Kerr said to himself that is not how things are going to end with this dynasty. And this dynasty being the Golden State Warriors with Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Iguodala. You know the list of characters. It already started with Klay Thompson in what was an ugly separation exit when he was traded essentially in a sign and trade. But that wasn't so much involving Steve Kerr. I think the relationship between those two is still very solid. That was more about management and Klay Thompson feeling as though he had been done wrong. But this, with Draymond Green, should this be the end, is exactly what Steve Kerr was trying to avoid. He did not want to have people chirping, especially his own boys. He wanted this thing to end amicably, where we all enjoyed this special run and we all loved one another and we had celebrations, and to this day, we're still very close. It's not official, certainly far from being official, that Steve Kerr is not coming back to the Warriors. I have no idea going forward. I have my thoughts. I'll get into that. but this is the last thing that he wanted to have happen in terms of how this was going to end, where guys are taking shots at one another. And this is exactly what Draymond's doing. Draymond Green has decided in his exit interview with Steve Kerr that if this is indeed the end, that Draymond Green's going to air dirty laundry. I get it. It's what Draymond Green does, but what Draymond Green should have done is to think twice about, well, this is a little bit bigger than the podcast. And this is sort of everything that I've represented and I've stood for and I've played for the last 10 years of my career and winning all those championships. That should have been able to preside over whatever silliness that came out of his mouth in yet another podcast where he's trying to be, quote unquote, controversial or say something for the sake of getting viewers.
Can I just say that it wasn't all bad? There is a clip here of Draymond saying what Steve Kerr means to him as a whole.
Let's play that.
Okay.
What he's meant to me in my life, what he's taught me in my life. Just telling them in our exit interview, the things that he's taught me about being a winner, I'm not sure where else I could have got that. I played for Tom Izzo, and Steve just took that to a completely different level, and especially showing me things about this level and winning. Like, I could never repay him for that. It's so important to who I've become.
Yeah, it's fair that you give that proper context because I did hear that. And he didn't slam Steve Kerr the entire show. Thanks for that, Pasta. But you can do that without saying Steve Kerr hindered you offensively. And by the way, Draymond, bro, like no one guards you. You can do whatever the hell you want offensively. You don't need to draw a play for you. You stand at the three-point line, and whoever's guarding you is under the hoop. No one bothers guarding you anymore. They haven't guarded you in the last 5 years. You can do whatever the hell you want. But we know what you do is you're looking for the DHO. You're looking for Steph Curry on the dribble handoff so you can set that screen. That's what you do. But I should clarify that. Draymond Green, let's not get this crooked. Back in the day, I'm talking 10 years ago, when he got into that first dust-up, the first one that we know of, only because Lisa Salter was standing outside of the door at halftime in OKC. That was the double bang where Steph Curry hit that ridiculous 40-footer against Oklahoma in one of the most incredible regular season games I've ever seen. And Draymond Green said, "You're messing with my head." That all stemmed from Draymond feeling as though he was inhibiting him, and I'm talking about Steve Kerr offensively. And just to be fair to Draymond Green did have some offensive chops, all right? Draymond Green 10 years ago, he could shoot the three at a higher clip, and Draymond Green, believe it or not, could get to the hole. He could give you some stuff offensively. He wasn't a number one option. He wasn't a number two option. Probably not a number three with Kevin Durant on that team, but he could give you buckets. Back then, I'm talking about. Now, there's no reason to guard the guy. But come on, man, you're a smart basketball player. There's nobody's going to run plays for you. You know, Ben Wallace, who was part of that, I don't know if I'd call it a dynasty, but certainly a championship run there with the Detroit Pistons. Nobody ever designed to play for Ben Wallace. And Ben Wallace is sort of like that of Draymond, tremendous defender, a guy who would clean things up, got the garbage, set a screen, was sort of the enforcer. Now, obviously, Draymond is a different player, but my point being is that you don't draw up plays for players like that. Nobody's drawing up a play for Ben Wallace. I heard Robert Horry on, whose show was it? Dan Patrick's show. Robert Horry, Big Shot Bob. How many big shots and how many big games did that guy win? That dude was an offensive powerhouse. Shout out Cal State Fullerton, by the way, is where I think he went to school. Never in his entire NBA career had a play drawn up for Robert Horry. If you're not drawing up plays for Robert Horry, you ain't drawing up plays for Draymond Green. So get over it. But I do think it's important to remember back in the day, he wasn't always a guy that was unguardable. And not unguardable because he's so good. It's just there's no reason to go out there. Let's just go double team Steph. Let's put another body on Steph because there's no reason to guard Draymond Green. Back in the day, he did have some offensive chops, and he did feel as though there is some credibility to what it is that he's saying back in the day with Steve Kerr limiting him offensively. And I do believe, and I do want to talk about this on the other side, that when he says, "You never liked me," referring to Steve Kerr, I believe that. I do believe that. I don't think Steve Kerr has ever really liked Draymond Green. Just to give you an example, he really likes Steph Curry. I don't think he really likes Klay Thompson. A lot of this is just personality driven. And when you spend that much time with somebody, it breaks down to, do you like a guy or not? Would you go get a beer with him after work or not? And I don't think he's ever really liked Draymond Green. I don't think he likes the fact that he gets in his face. And I think that he puts up with Draymond Green. I think that's the relationship. Now, he'll never admit this publicly, but I think that what he does as far as the relationship between the two is that he recognizes what Draymond Green means for his team as far as winning, which is the bottom line. It's not hypocrisy on the part of Steve Kerr. It's not Steve Kerr being phony, but Steve Kerr is not different from any other NBA coach, despite the fact that maybe he thinks he is, or that he's a little bit outspoken politically or what have you. But Steve Kerr's bottom line is the same damn bottom line for every other NBA coach. And that is, I'll put up with someone like that of Draymond Green, who I don't necessarily personally like because he's the best defender in the game, because he wins basketball games for me. And I think that's the extent of the relationship with Steve Kerr and Draymond Green. Draymond Green is somebody that's an end to his means. He's somebody that justifies him being on that basketball team because he's such a good player. But as far as, me having a personal relationship or quote unquote liking him, there's probably 100 other dudes that have played on the Golden State Warriors since Steve Kerr has been the head coach that he likes more than that of Draymond Green. And I think that when Steve Kerr and Draymond Green were getting into each other's face, the first couple of years that Draymond Green was on the team should tell you that they were oil and water right from the jump. And so when the rumors were that Draymond Green was going to get dealt this past year during the trade deadline for Giannis or whomever, I believe it. I don't know why Steve Kerr has got to, I guess Steve Kerr takes the high road, and, Steve Kerr is going to tell you that he's a tremendous player. He means a lot to this team. We're family. I have the utmost respect for Draymond. But really, at the end of the day, again, if Steve Kerr was having a few, we were on the golf course as he is right now, and I'm one of his boys, he's probably saying, yeah, that dude's been a pain in my ass for so long. But he puts up with him. Why? Because Draymond wins you basketball games. And Steve Kerr's bottom line is not different from anybody else in the NBA that is a head coach. And that is winning presides. We'll continue to talk about the Golden State Warriors. We'll open up the phone lines officially at 888-957-9570. Get your thoughts on Draymond Green, the Golden State Warriors, and Steve Kerr specifically going forward. I talked about Kerr and the relationship with Draymond Green. Now I want to talk about Steve Kerr, the head coach, and whether or not he should come back as the head man with the Golden State Warriors. We'll do that and much more here on 95.7 The Game.
Let's talk about a big win on and off the field. This April, donate blood with Stanford Blood Center, and you're automatically entered to win 2 luxury suite tickets for the Giants versus the Diamondbacks on May 25th at Oracle Park. We're talking suite level, great views, all the food and drinks included. Your one donation saves lives, and it puts you in the best seats in the house. Make the call to donate today. Visit StanfordBloodCenter.org for an appointment.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
kids. KARS, Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS, Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS, Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Granger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Granger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I am grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Football fans, history is calling as San Francisco heads down under for the first ever game in Australia. Join the action in Melbourne with true fan travel as San Francisco takes on Los Angeles at the iconic Melbourne Cricket Ground. Premium hotel stay, epic all-inclusive events, city tours, wildlife adventures, meet and greet with a red and gold legend, and unforgettable moments. Spots are limited. Don't miss out on your shot to experience San Francisco down under. Head to truefantravel.com. That's truefantravel.com.
What if you could have the most reliable Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Just 5 years of fiber-powered Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most. That finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family's banking on bandwidth. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Powered by fiber. Connected to the premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
A cool and crisp Modelo tastes good. But you know what tastes even better? That survived the evening rush Modelo. That post-12-hour shift Modelo. That fought for every rebound Modelo. That just clocked out on a Friday Modelo. That Modelo you earned is just better. That Modelo is the markable fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds on my car insurance. Really smart. Unfortunately, I didn't check if I left the pizza box on top of my car before driving home. Not smart. Oh, and a semi just turned my deep dish into a thin crust.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Potential savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Now back to 95.7 The Game.
Is that Billy Joel and We Didn't Start the Fire?
That's right.
I think that had to do with the media, I believe. So, interesting underlining story behind the lyrics of one of the many hits of Billy Joel. I never saw him at Madison Square Garden. He had a contract at Madison Square Garden where he would play every month. Never got an opportunity to see him. I did see Elton John at Madison Square Garden, though. So, a couple of things to clean up, by the way. It's Dan Avone alongside Pasta. We got you covered here this morning on 95.7 The Game. So, my bad. Robert Horry did not go to Cal State Fullerton. You know I get him confused with? Cedric Ceballos. Cedric Ceballos, who was a slam dunk winner. And Bruce Bowen also went to Cal State Fullerton. But I do know Cedric Ceballos went to Cal State Fullerton. Cal State Disneyland, I used to call it. Back in the day, that was a hell of a baseball program. But once again, just to clarify, our man Robert Horry did not go to Cal State Fullerton. Cedric Ceballos, who won an NBA slam dunk contest, and it's still somewhat controversial there, Pasta, because he was supposedly blindfolded. But there were those that are like, nah, he can see. And Cedric, to this day, Cedric Ceballos is like, no, I was blindfolded. I could not see. But that's the gentleman that I was referring to. So I just want to continue with the Draymond Green talk here for a moment. And I do want you to play some sound, but let's just set it up. So Draymond Green also intimated that Steve Kerr never liked him. Now, he mentioned this in reference to when Steve Kerr was mentioned in a recent article in The New Yorker, and Draymond Green had this to say.
When you spend 14 years with someone, when you've had the runs that we've had, playing the role that I've had to play and being who I've had to be, some things like that are going to happen. Everything hasn't just been one way. You know, it hasn't just been like, oh, man, Draymond did this, Steve's mad. I don't take that any way at all. You know, speaking of this December thing, you know, I spoke to him after that, and it was like, I don't think you like me. I don't think you've ever liked me, if I'm honest. Like, he cried. Like, really?
That's pretty enlightening. One more thing before we get into Draymond. Someone on the, I don't know why I'm watching, maybe because I'm sitting in this chair, suddenly I'm reading text messages. And so from the 408, LaMelo did the same thing. Is he a dirty player? Because I was referring to Draymond Green as a dirty player. Draymond Green is the greatest defender I've ever seen, but he's a dirty player. It's all right. There's a lot of good defenders who are dirty players. I just have issue when he says I'm not a dirty player. And so the 408 is saying LaMelo did the same thing. Yes, LaMelo Ball, who grabbed the leg of Bam Adebayo in that play-in game, that was a dirty play. I guess the difference between LaMelo and Draymond Green is that Draymond Green has done it repeatedly. Now, if LaMelo Ball continues to do this throughout his career, not only sitting on his backside and grabbing guys by the ankle, but kicking guys in the junk, doing all the things that Draymond has perpetuated over the course of his career, then yes, LaMelo Ball would qualify as a dirty player. As of right now, it's sort of an isolated play. We'll keep an eye on LaMelo Ball going forward to see whether or not he's a dirty player. But just getting back to Draymond Green, and that was pretty candid, that he said, you never liked me, and they had a moment. Of course, this refers to that December blow-up where they got into each other's face on the sidelines, and actually Draymond was the bigger man and walked away, if you recall, from that situation. Then, of course, it continued in a much more constructive manner afterwards. And that's when apparently Draymond Green said, you've never liked me. Again, not taking sides here, but I can appreciate Draymond Green being candid because I'm a Draymond. I think that if we were to be honest, and I obviously I'm not privy to the inner workings. I'm not there at practice. I don't know the relationship between the two, but just from afar, from where I sit, it doesn't appear as though Steve Kerr likes the guy. And as I mentioned, that's all right. We don't have to like everybody that you're with, even if it's for 14 years. And Draymond Green is just, he's being honest, man. He's calling it out. And I think, again, sort of what it is that I said in the previous segment, it's the reason why Steve Kerr and Draymond Green coexist is because Steve Kerr tolerates him almost to a fault. And so what it is that Steve Kerr said that he doesn't, and I'm paraphrasing here, he doesn't support everything that Draymond Green has done throughout his 14 years. Obviously, Steve Kerr has to take that political tone because Draymond Green has done so much, including punching out a teammate. And so Steve Kerr can't defend everything. But I think what Steve Kerr is trying to say, for the most part, I love the guy, and we just have a working relationship, but I can't defend him on everything. But I'm sort of with Draymond. I don't think that Steve Kerr has ever really liked the guy.
Do you want to hear what Steve Kerr told the New Yorker, which kind of prompted this whole thing? I don't have the sound for it. It was a written piece. So basically, Kerr said this, quote, In my first 5 years, we would get into 3 knockdown dragouts a year. Part of it was I just had to show the rest of the team that I'm in charge. You have to do things by a set of standards. It's a community that you're building, not just a team, a little society with values and standards and expectations, and then you're a community that has to police itself. The coach has to demand certain behaviors, certain habits. So then, for a long time, we had a truce. I understood him so well, he understood me, but this year we had a major blowout in December. He's such a unique person. There are things he's done that I can never forgive him for, and yet I will do anything for him.
Yeah, that's BS.
What is a truce? What truce did they have?
A ceasefire?
Ceasefire. And I want to ask you this question too, because at the end of that Draymond quote, Dan, he said that Steve Kerr had cried when he asked him that. And, you know, human nature takes over. I think if you've been together that long and you ask someone, have you ever liked me? Like, it's an emotional question to ask.
Pretty dramatic, no?
But why did Draymond Green say, really? Like, is the really part of it at the end in response to him crying or to just the overall general discussion?
That's a good question.
Like, really? Like, as in, like, you're crying? Or as in...
I think the really is like, you don't agree with me?
I don't know. It's maybe a micro topic on this whole tree.
No,
but.
I think it's Draymond's way of saying, really, that's just me who thinks that way? I think if Steve Kerr was to be honest, you'd say, I don't know, don't like you. That's sort of a strong statement. I think that when those two go their separate way, when this is over with, they won't stay in touch. And I don't know how much Steve Kerr will stay in touch with Steph Curry or how this will play out. They're just different people. Steve Kerr is a fiery dude, man. I think the misperception is he's the kid next door. He's the paper boy and everybody loves him. Steve Kerr has always been a red ass. He's got a short fuse. He was that way as a player. Michael Jordan had to knock his ass out once. Michael Jordan, seriously, if you watch The Last Dance and if you follow the NBA or Steve Kerr's career, know this about the NBA, Michael Jordan knocked him out. And he's had these issues. This is the way Steve Kerr is wired. Steve Kerr is competitive, and one of the reasons why he's as successful as he is competitive as hell. But just like any competitive person, his fuse runs short. Ask Stacey King. Stacey King, who is now, I like Stacey King as a broadcaster. He does his Sanford and Son thing. He does his Fred Sanford take during games, but he's a color analyst for the Chicago Bulls. And Stacey King and Steve Kerr have history. This goes back to the days when Stacey King played at the University of Oklahoma, and Oklahoma knocked Steve Kerr's senior year, knocked the Wildcats and Tom Tolbert and all those boys, Sean Elliott, knocked them out of the NCAA tournament. I want to say it was in the Final Four. And Stacey King went off in that game for Oklahoma. And if you ever talk to Steve Kerr or anybody who has access to Steve Kerr, if you want to talk about, I don't know, I'm sure that there's NBA losses that he has suffered as a player, as a coach, that will stay with him throughout his entire life. But I bet you, again, on this golfer's weekend, if we were hanging out and it said, Steve, you've had a couple of beers, tell me the truth. What's the one loss that you've suffered in your entire life as a basketball player and or a coach or a GM that hurts the most? He'll tell you it's that loss to Stacey King in Oklahoma back in whenever, the late 1980s, when he was with the University of Arizona. And the reason why I mention that is that the two entered the NBA. Stacey King played with the Chicago Bulls. He played for a couple of teams, as did Steve Kerr. And sure enough, who got into a fist fight with Stacey King? Steve Kerr. Those two did not like each other. And Steve Kerr showed hands with Stacey King. Look it up. It might be on YouTube. My point in all of this is that Steve Kerr is not one of those passive guys that just loves everybody. Steve Kerr is, listen, man, if you did him wrong or if he doesn't like you, he's going to get in your face, and he's wired like that. So I think some people are under the misperception that Steve Kerr is the nicest guy in the world. He is. There's a level of maturity to him now, which is why he's such a successful coach, is that he doesn't get into the ebb and flow, the wins and losses, and all the minutia of he goes big picture more often than not, and why he's such a special human being, I think. But Steve Kerr is somebody that lives sort of in that petty world and doesn't like people like that of a Stacey King. And I think that Draymond Green falls into that category and did a long time ago. And maybe they tried to work things out. But at the end of the day, I think Draymond's right. He's like, this cat doesn't like me and has never really liked me. And if I was Steve Kerr, I'd say, well, you know what, Draymond? You're a beautiful person and you do your own thing, but I can't be the only one, man. A lot of people that probably don't like you. But I think, again, getting back, and I just want to reiterate this. This is the last thing that Steve Kerr wanted to have happen. When this thing, and it's ending in front of our very eyes, right? This could be the end of Steve Kerr. We'll find out, right? We'll know in the next week or so. But if this is Steve Kerr exiting from the Golden State Warriors, and this is the official end of the dynasty as the head coach is gone, the one thing Steve Kerr wanted to avoid was this. And that is somebody airing dirty laundry or somebody chirping like what it is that Draymond Green is doing. Because he lived it. He saw it firsthand when he was with the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan didn't like Scottie Pippen, and Scottie Pippen didn't like Michael Jordan. They still don't talk to this day. Jerry Krause, the whole thing was a complete mess. It was chaos. I mean, it makes for a good doc now. The Last Dance, sure, but when you were playing at the time, it's the one thing Steve Kerr wanted to avoid as a dynasty is to have this. And what's the this? It's Draymond Green doing what it is that Draymond Green's doing and talking about somebody hindering him as a player. And I'm glad that you were able to play the other part of it so we get to see it in its full context. But that's the one thing, Draymond, you got to understand that the media is going to grab onto, and the one thing we're going to take away from this, and the one thing that we're going to remember, should this be the end of the road for Steve Kerr, is that you think he hindered you offensively and not see it in its full context. And that's the one thing that Steve Kerr does not want to have happen as this thing comes to an end. Speaking of Steve Kerr, 888-957-9570. Your thoughts on whether he should come back as the head coach. I know that, look, I love Nick Friedel, and I mean, I seriously do. I love that. Have you ever met Nick Friedel, Pasta?
I have not, but everybody at the station says he's lovely.
Dude, he's bigger than life, man. He's got a big city personality. I just like the guy. I did a couple of shows, and I don't know him that well. And as far as basketball and knowing basketball, he's big league. He's what we like to say in the industry. He's a network guy.
Uh-oh.
Like he's working locally here for 95.7 The Game and for The Athletic, but he's got network chops, right? Like he's a guy who was at ESPN. He may end up at ESPN again. He may end up at Fox, may end up at NBC. He's got like that network sort of shine about him. And he's also that good in covering the Warriors and the NBA. He knows what's up. But it does not mean that I can't disagree with him. Because I know that he's a big Steve Kerr guy, and I think he said as much, maybe on these airwaves, that if the Warriors were to go in another direction, good luck, because he has the respect. And Friedel would know this because he has access to Steve Kerr talking to his players, so he knows and he's seen this firsthand. And Friedel will tell you that he has the respect of just about every player in that room. Not just about, he does, of every player. And I think Friedel, and again, I'm paraphrasing, said as much, that if you were to remove Steve Kerr with that team, good luck, because it ain't going to work, is what he was intimating. There's no way in hell you can go forward without Steve Kerr. And I would disagree. Now, there is some plausibility that if you're going to run back this same team, which I'm hoping they don't do, then yeah, maybe bringing in somebody who's younger might have a tougher time, but I don't think it's an impossibility for whoever the next coach is, especially if he's considerably younger or comes from the college ranks, for it not to work and for him not to get the respect of the veteran players. We just say this because we're accustomed to it. We say we can't imagine what it's like without Steve Kerr because we're unaccustomed to change. Change does not necessarily mean it's a bad thing. We're comfortable is what it is. We're comfortable with Steve Kerr as the head coach, and we can't imagine it, or we can't imagine somebody else, especially somebody else younger, coaching Steph Curry until it happens. And that's what change is all about. We're just comfortable is all this is. But if you're comfortable with Steve Kerr coaching your team and your team being in the play-in and your team getting older, then sure, bring him back. But that's exactly what it is that you're going to get if you want to rely once again on Jimmy Butler. He'll be back. And Steph Curry, he'll be back, obviously. And Draymond Green, he'll be back. Al Horford, he'll be back. We'll see about Porzingis. Well, then, yeah. If you want Steve Kerr to be your head coach, then you're going to get exactly what it is that you got this past year. You're going to get exactly what it is you got the last year, and that is you're going to go right down to the end of the season, right down to the nub, playing for your playing lives at the 9 seed, the 10 seed, or the 8 seed. And if that's what if that's where we've lowered the bar when it comes to Warrior basketball, well, then Steve Kerr is your guy going forward. Now, look, I always have to preface this by saying Steve Kerr is a Hall of Famer as a coach. Steve Kerr is a Hall of Famer as, well, not as a player, but just as a basketball mind. In terms of the schematics, in terms of what it is that he wants to do with X's and O's, his pay grade is way the hell. He's in the pantheon in terms of head coaches. Put him up there with the all-time greats. But as far as what's best for this team going forward, in my estimation, and you guys know this, I have not changed one iota. They have got to get younger. And they got to be bad before they get good. But the sooner you do it, the quicker you get back to relevancy. And Steve Kerr is not the guy for that job. Why? Because he's too damn old. That's the bottom line in all of this. It's about changing the culture. It's not about Steve Kerr is not good at this or substitutions or playing guys too long or not being able to have the proper players on the floor at a particular time. No, Steve Kerr is still a good coach. It's just now you need someone that's more relatable. You need somebody who's going to change the dynamic of that basketball team as you go younger. Somebody that the younger players, forget about Draymond, forget about Steph, some of the younger players are able to talk to and relate to. It's why Mitch Johnson's a good coach. It's why you're seeing Joe Mazzulla succeed. It's why you're seeing all these younger coaches who are so damn innovative taking over the sport. The Warriors are getting left behind because they're hanging on to yesteryear, and it starts with your head coach. I love Steve Kerr as much as the next guy, but what's best for team is a changing at the top, and the top being the head coach. Because you just have to change the entire identity of this team. Let's open up the phone lines and get out to Scott, who's hanging out in Marin and wants to talk about the Warriors and Steve Kerr. Hey, Scott, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I completely disagree with your whole take right there. Absolutely everything you just said. Because, number one, okay, let's say your idea, let's go with your idea. Who do you have in mind? Who would do a better job with this roster the way it's constructed right now?
Well, that's a good point. The way it's constructed right now. No, hold on, Scott.
It's a players' league,
okay,
man.
Wait, are you asking me a question, or do you want? If you want to go, and then I can talk afterwards. It's up to you. I'll let you go, and then I'll talk afterwards. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So
I asked you a question.
Yeah, so I would say the way the team is currently constructed is not a winning ingredient for any head coach, which is why they need to get younger. And as you go younger, my point is, Scott, is that I think as you change the identity of this team, I think it would also make sense to change the identity of the head coach who could be more relatable for younger players, if that makes sense.
Well, why do you think he's not capable of doing that? I've seen no indication that he isn't capable of doing that. He's worked well with young players. Forget about J.K. J.K. didn't do what he was asked to do. That was his problem, not the coach's problem.
Yeah, good question, Scott. No, keep the conversation going, and I'll answer that for you as well. I think Steve has said as much, that he's learned throughout his long tenure as a head coach, and he got this from Phil Jackson and company, is that you win with veterans. And that right now in his career, and again, I'm paraphrasing here, but Steve has said that he leans in on older players because he doesn't have the patience right now where he's at in his career to go through 2 or 3 years of a learning curve for a young player to get to where they need to be, where you can rely on them. Every young player goes through growing pains. Every young player, despite how good they are, very rarely are they plug and play and can pick up his system, which is really nuanced, right? Which is really sort of this, they have to understand spacing and to do it their way. So he's so reliant, which is why with all the free agents and all the additions they could have made over the offseason, who did they get? Al Horford. Why did they get Al Horford? Because that's the sort of player that Steve Kerr right now is leaning into. He says as much that he does not necessarily have the patience, or does he want to coach the younger players? He'll blend them in. There's certainly a role for them, but he's clearly a guy that is reliant on his older players. And I think that when you look at the roster, it's reflective as much.
But the evidence is that if you're a younger player that can play and know how to play the game, he will play you. Jordan Poole was a 22 years old and got him to the title, helped him get to the title. He will play younger players that can produce and work well with the team. I mean, I think this whole thing has been skewed because of this J.K. nonsense that went on for far too long, when it was clearly the player who didn't have the understanding of his limitations of his skill set, and they were blaming the coach for not giving him a chance, but his skill set wasn't there. Jordan Poole's skill set was there. The second year after the title, then his skill set actually was suspect because he wasn't playing. He was turning the ball over and But when a young player comes to the game and plays well, he plays you. I mean, Guy Santos is a key figure in this team now. I mean, and it's a matter of the player, not. And to me, it comes down to whether you have the horses or not. Steve Kerr didn't have. I mean, with the injuries that happened this year, losing your two best players basically because Steph missed 30 games or whatever it was. I mean, was there another coach you could think of that could have got them into the playoffs? I don't see a better coach. To me, you should replace Steve Kerr if you have a better option. I don't see a better option in any scenario, whether it's
Scott, all good
or what.
I got to get to a break. All really good points. Seriously, you know what's did we lose Scott?
Gone.
All right, Scott, call back if you want. We didn't win clip you, but we got to get to a break. I'd love to continue the conversation. I think a lot of the points that he makes are valid, but I think a lot of the younger players that Steve Kerr is getting credited for playing, that was done out of necessity. If they're at full strength, I don't know how much Guy Santos you're going to see. If they're at full strength, I don't know how many of these younger players play a significant role. But Scott, seriously, call me back. You know what's going on when it comes to the Golden State Warriors. We'll continue the conversation here on 95.7 The Game right after this.
What if you could have the most reliable Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Just 5 years of fiber-powered Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most. That finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family's banking on bandwidth. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity, imagine that.
Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Powered by fiber, connected to the premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
All right, I need avocados, bananas, salad, steak.
Wow, does your grocery list have multiple pages?
No, but I skipped lunch, so now it's like my stomach is doing the grocery shopping. And besides, I'm earning cash back with Upside.
Upside? What's that?
Hold up, you haven't heard of it? Upside is a free app that gets you cash back when you shop at gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants. And they added Lucky and Food Max stores, so we're pretty much covered wherever we go.
All those stores?
Yep, so not only are we getting a great deal on groceries, now we can earn cash back as well.
Okay, downloading Upside. Now let me copy your grocery list.
Great news! Lucky and Food Max are now on Upside. Download the Upside app and use the promo code SAVE9 to earn a 10% cashback bonus on your first grocery purchase. That's promo code SAVE9 for a 10% cashback bonus. Use promo code SAVE9.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising! After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know! Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael. Video Only.
It's time to spring into deals at Lowe's. Freshen up your yard with Stay Green Premium 2 cubic foot mulch. 5 bags for $10. Then get what you need to keep clothes, food, and dishes fresh with up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an additional $100 on select laundry pairs. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/6. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is...
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA-estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
Football fans, history is calling as San Francisco heads down under for the first ever game in Australia. Join the action in Melbourne with true fan travel as San Francisco takes on Los Angeles at the iconic Melbourne Cricket Ground. Premium hotel stay, epic all-inclusive events, city tours, wildlife adventures, meet and greet with a red and gold legend, and unforgettable moments. Spots are limited. Don't miss out on your shot to experience San Francisco down under. Head to truefantravel.com. That's truefantravel.com.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
Hey, life doesn't give you a warning when everything changes. It starts with shock, confusion, and 1,000 questions running through your mind. Maybe it's a car accident, a serious injury, or a tragedy that changes your family forever. Suddenly, you're dealing with insurance companies' paperwork and pressure, all while trying to heal. That's where Beam Law comes in. They take on the legal fight, the negotiations, and the stress so you can focus on recovery and taking care of the people who matter most. Beam Law is local, and they've recovered millions for clients across the region. That's why SF Weekly has named them Best of the Bay 4 times. So if you've been hurt or lost someone because of someone else's negligence, call Beam Law at 415-523-5555, 415-523-5555. That's 415-523-5555, or visit hurtinthebay.com. That's hurtinthebay.com, because it's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get back up. Beam Law, they've got your back, Bay Area.
Now back to 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back in. Dan Avone alongside my man Pasta. Talking a little Golden State Warriors. But we have really sort of, I don't know, poked the bear a little bit here. Some people here on the text line strongly believe that Steve Kerr loves Draymond Green. Like I said, man, listen, none of us know. Could be right. That Steve Kerr and Draymond Green or Steve Kerr does indeed love Draymond Green. And just like any other relationship, runs hot, runs cold. I can just tell you from what it is that we see as fans, these two have gone after each other. And when Draymond Green feels comfortable enough to say that you've never liked me, I think all I'm saying is there might be some plausibility to that. So, anyways, I don't want it. I guess in retrospect, I don't want people to think that I'm saying Steve Kerr never agreeing with Draymond Green, that Steve Kerr never liked Draymond Green. I just think that the relationship's been so on again, off again that, there are times when Steve Kerr has not liked this guy, but maybe at the end of the day, he really does love the guy. When he looks back and looks at the history of everything that they've been through, the wars, the hatred, the making up, that maybe it's sort of like, a lot of people are in similar marital situations, I suppose. And
what do you think the relationship would be like if they weren't successful? Like, let's say the Warriors got to Western Conference Finals and just maybe won one ring, a singular ring, and they didn't have a dynasty, but they were perennial contenders, and Steph and Draymond and Clay, they were all there, but they didn't have the magnitude of success that they ended up having. What would their relationship be like then?
Well, that's a hell of a question. Let's take it a step further. Let's say that they were good but didn't win any rings. Just someone like that. There's a lot of teams that are comps here in the NBA that are good but don't get to the promised land. I think, to answer your question as it relates to Draymond Green and Steve Kerr, I think Draymond Green would have been gone a lot sooner than this. I think that winning and winning championships really changes the dynamic.
Do you think, and this is maybe a dumb question because I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Do you think winning a championship puts a force field around a player for however many years after that, right? We always hear the term, so-and-so never has to buy a meal in San Francisco again. And I don't know how much that applies. I think we just throw out the term at this point to anybody for anything they did. But I feel like there's just a force field around these guys that win championships. And it, maybe guys that, let's say Clay and Curry and Draymond, those three, maybe in Clay's sake and Draymond's sake especially, it's maybe kept him on the team a little longer than he might have been, right? Do you see what I'm getting with the force field around, after you win a championship? It's almost like there's a sense of loyalty there that...
There's an aura. Look at Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley's done everything in the NBA. The one knock on him, and the one thing that Shaquille O'Neal and those two used to really get after it, is Shaq would show his rings. What's the one thing Charles Barkley has not done? Is win an NBA championship. Kenny Smith has. Shaquille O'Neal has. The only two on that desk that haven't are Ernie Johnson and Charles Barkley. But think about Charles Barkley if he was an NBA champion. As special as he is, and he is a remarkable media talent, but there would be a different sort of, to your point, there would be a different sort of energy around him. Yeah, I think there is a lot of plausibility to that. winning a championship is the difference between everything and nothing sometimes when it comes to, especially the NBA. And it changes everything, man. Changes everything in terms of the Golden State Warriors and especially Draymond Green. But Draymond Green has always been, he's a winner. Say what you will about the guy, but he is a winner. But if that's a team that had fallen short and didn't win NBA championships, I don't think, again, because I think Steve Kerr at the end of the day, he justifies a lot of this with the winning. And the chance of winning another championship is due in large part to Draymond Green. If Draymond Green wasn't as good as he was, or if you weren't winning championships, I don't think that Steve Kerr and that relationship would continue. I think he puts up with Draymond Green to a certain degree because of the winning. But I know I say it repeatedly, and I know it's not necessarily very popular because I think there's a lot of people that think that Steve Kerr is the man for this job. Scott from Marin. And Scott, if wants to continue the conversation, we got a phone line open for you. But, there's a lot of people like Scott and Marin that feel as though Steve Kerr is the best guy for this job going forward. Now, I also think that a lot of people interpret that we're disrespecting Steve Kerr or that I'm disrespecting Steve Kerr or not recognizing what it is that he's done or in any way, shape, or form am I saying that he's not a good coach. Steve Kerr is, again, put him up there with the other luminaries. Popovich, Red Auerbach, Phil Jackson, his mentors. Steve Kerr is in that conversation. This is about the here and now. This is about what's best for the Golden State Warriors going forward. To me, they have to get younger. They got to identify the stars of tomorrow. And they have to stop chasing what is already in the rearview mirror. And that is trying to win championships with the likes of Steph and Draymond and now Jimmy Butler and Al Horford. You have to let it go, fans. You, at some point, have to turn the page. And I know it's difficult to do, but the longer you continue to draw this out, the uglier it's going to get. That's my only sentiment. And so, all of us will find out. But a lot of us are just afraid of change, man, especially when you've been doing one thing for so long and have been successful. We just can't envision anybody else. We can't envision someone like Dan Hurley coaching the team, Golden coaching the team. It'll never work. You don't know until you pull that trigger. And listen, just to keep it here in local terms, think about the greatest coach the 49ers have ever had. If it's not Shanahan, then it's, guess who? It's Bill Walsh, right? And Bill Walsh, who is the genius, Bill Walsh, who is the legend, Bill Walsh. He created the West Coast. Well, not him. It was actually his mentor, Paul Brown. That innovative offense. But it got to a point where Bill Walsh just physically and mentally was drained and is just like, I don't want to do this anymore. After 10 years, he's like, I'm just done. And the sentiment at the time was like, well, who the hell is going to replace Bill Walsh? Bill Walsh started all of this. This is Bill Walsh has his hands all over this. Nobody's going to demand the same sort of respect like that of a Bill Walsh. Are you kidding me? It's Joe Montana. It's Bill Walsh. It's all about him and his innovation. Like, if we lose Bill Walsh, this will never be the same. And guess what? George Seifert, the following year, takes over as the head coach. And what happens? They lose 2 games and they win the Super Bowl. And he went on to win another Super Bowl, did George Seifert. And my point in all of that is that it's okay. Sometimes you can't envision life without Steve Kerr and Steph Curry until you do it. And you just can't hang on to the same thing simply because it's comfortable. You think that that's the only way you can carve this turkey up. Same thing with, look at Ime Udoka, got to an NBA Finals with the Boston Celtics, was a rising star as far as NBA coaches, and then because things not basketball related, and controversy got in the way. He gets ousted as the head coach, and like, what the hell are we going to do now? I mean, it was Ime Udoka. This is his team. And they plug in Joey Maz, and Mazzulla suddenly has become, now they can't even envision this team without Mazzulla. He's become one of the young up-and-coming coaches. He's going to get votes for Coach of the Year this year. He's done a remarkable job with the Boston Celtics. This is supposed to be a gap year without Tatum and losing and refacing this entire roster. Yet because of Mazzulla and the way they play, I mean, the team isn't, I mean, if they had their choices, would you want, if you were a Celtics fan, do you want Udoka back or Mazzulla? Of course you want Mazzulla. And that happened. They changed. Same thing with Popovich. If I went to the San Antonio Spurs right now and said, listen, let's just, for the sake of this conversation, let's pretend Popovich didn't suffer the stroke. Let's pretend that Popovich is at 100% and that he's healthy. Do you want him back coaching the Spurs team? Or do you want Mitch Johnson? I would think the majority of Spurs fans would say, no, let's, as much as we love Popovich, as much as he's probably as respected as Steve Kerr is, more respected than any coach in the NBA. He's the godfather, for crying out loud. But Mitch Johnson has got the pulse of this team. Mitch Johnson, the former Stanford Cardinal, is relatable to the younger players. This is the guy going forward. And so I guess sometimes we're just afraid of change because we can't envision it any other way until you do it. I'm all for it, a new young coach taking over the Golden State Warriors. But I know how this is going to play out. Most likely Steve Kerr will come back, and I just don't know, are fans really comfortable going after the likes of Giannis or really think this team is a LeBron James away from winning a title? I just don't know how you do this with an older core because they're just going to get older and they're just going to get more disconnected from the top of the Western Conference, which is OKC, which is San Antonio, which is Minnesota. And what are those teams comprised of? They're comprised of young stars. So at some point, you got to go young. At some point, you got to find the stars of tomorrow. And you just have to, which is why after they won that game against the Los Angeles Clippers in that playing game, which was so beautiful, man. That was just a big F you to people like me that was like, yeah, you need to revamp this team. That was just, they dialed back the clock. Draymond Green was Draymond Green. He just said, Kawhi Leonard, you ain't getting squat against me. And Steph Curry went off, and it was just so much fun to watch. They should have just brought down the curtain right after that game, and everybody should have just said, that's it. We're not even going to play against Phoenix. We're going to go out on a high note. Seinfeld, look it up. I want to leave on a high note. They went back in time, and they played Warrior basketball, and all of them should have just said, hey, you know what, let's get the hell out of here. Like Thelma and Louise. Let's just drive off the cliff, man. Let's just get in the sedan, hold my hand, let's go. Let's just leave. Forget about playing against Phoenix. Forget about coming back next year. Let's just leave on a high note. It ain't going to get any better than this.
Let's go home!
You watched Thelma and Louise, is that before your time?
Long before my time, Dan.
Are you a movie guy? I don't even know this about you, Posse. We don't talk movie references very often.
I'm a movie guy, yeah.
Is there something recently you've seen that you would recommend?
I saw the Michael movie, actually, last weekend.
Oh, how is that?
It's actually, hold on, give me 1 sec. We got a call coming in. I'm going to screen it, and then I will let you know my thoughts, because I do have thoughts.
This better be an important call for him to interrupt. Oh, the guy's gone.
I ran over to get the phone, and then it hung up before I could even answer.
Call back. Possible get you. 888-957-9570. So tell me about Michael.
So I actually saw it twice. Saw it once with my girlfriend and then once with my mom because I had promised my mom. It's an early Mother's Day thing. It was good. I think if you're a fan of Michael Jackson and you know, obviously a very polarizing figure, it is a puff piece. It's an estate-produced film. His nephew plays him. His nephew did a fantastic job. The plot is a little interesting. There's some the music is what makes it. That's what I'll say. The music is what makes it, because it basically is what's the right word? Puff piece for his music. He's going to sell a lot more albums after this movie.
So it's a little bit of a promo for
all the music. I mean, just album by album, they play pretty much all of his songs, all the Jackson 5 songs, and it's good.
So is that an adaptation or adoption or whatever the word is of the Michael Jackson play, which I saw in New York?
I saw 2 recently. It came to Broadway.
So is that
SF.
the same thing?
Not the same thing.
Okay.
But I believe that might be a state producer. But the only reason why I sound kind of hesitant about this is just because, I am somebody that wants to see everything, and I want to see the whole
body of work. So it doesn't dive into the controversy of.
I want to see the entire controversy. I want to see all the smoke. And with an estate-driven film, you just can't do it, because the brothers who are executive producers, the ones that are living, Tito passed away, they are not going to include that. So I would like to see something that's independently made, maybe a documentary.
So I saw the play, and it was almost like going to a concert.
Yeah, it's a musical.
The guy that was doing Michael Jackson actually sounded a lot like, I don't know how the hell he did it, but it sounded a lot like Michael Jackson, man. It was pretty amazing. But he would play the old hits, and the whole crowd would just start getting into it. People were up in the aisles and dancing. You're right. It was like a musical, and it was just an excuse to go back and enjoy Michael Jackson. I will say this, as we just sort of tie it back into sports. I've said this story countless times, but I went to a Super Bowl way back in the day. This is in L.A., and Michael Jackson was the halftime entertainment. And the testosterone at a football game, and it's a Super Bowl. The majority of the people, as I was just walking around, you think I'm going to listen to Michael Jackson? Man, let's go out in the parking lot and just headbutt each other and crush a 12-pack. Like the typical football fan is like, and Michael Jackson, it's just not a good mix. It just didn't sound. It wasn't a good idea at the time, and a lot of people were hesitant. Like Michael Jackson, come on, man. This is the NFL. We don't have time for Michael Jackson. All these big sort of, typical Neanderthal football players or football fans. And I'm telling you, when Michael Jackson began to play, it wasn't just a few smattering people that began to dance and sing along. As he got into like his second song, or as that little mini concert rolled along, I'm telling you, man, woman, and child in that entire 100,000 plus at the old LA Coliseum was up, and they were sick, because that guy, he has that, forget about Steph Curry. He's got that gravitational pull where he just brings you in, because he's such an amazing entertainer.
He's a visionary too. A lot of his stuff, he's a visionary. And there's a line in the movie where he's sitting writing music or something. Well, in a pool, he's laying down in a chair in a pool, and his brothers are all playing around him, and he's just in the pool like writing music, and they're like, Michael, come on, play with us. And Michael's like, I gotta get this album. He's like, I gotta get it before Prince gets it. That was the first time I broke out that one.
Oh, is that your first Michael Jackson?
My first Michael Jackson, yeah.
It needs a little work, but I think you can do a much better job.
Very polarizing figure, though, and no matter what your thoughts are, and I definitely have them myself, it was good to be taken back. But I obviously was not around for Michael Jackson's heyday, but it was good to be. My mom, who loved him, it took her back, so that was worth it.
Yeah, well, Michael Jackson, I mean, a lot of this just goes back to his old man, that dude was nuts.
That's in there quite a bit.
Yeah, and I'm sure he was not put in a positive light.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You know where he's from?
Gary, Indiana.
Hell yeah. I want to say Gary, Indiana. Now, I got Cal State Fullerton wrong, so I'm going to look this up. But Gary, Indiana has had its share of professional athletes. And there's a few that I wanted to, no, maybe not. Yeah. Glenn the Big Dog Robinson. I did have that right, from Gary, Indiana. Anyways. Yeah, Michael Jackson is just, say what you will, man, but I don't know of a greater performer. Prince, taken from us too early, is also another guy that's right up there with Michael Jackson in terms of, weird dudes. But listen, if you're going to be a visionary, as you said, if you're going to be an artist, don't you have to be weird? I was reading about Van Gogh. Van Gogh was nuts. Van Gogh was just out of his mind crazy, like sociopathic crazy. Like he got put into an institution. But, Van Gogh's work as an artist, it lives to this that was back in the 1500s?
Yeah. And in the movie, they show Michael, they show he's friends with animals. Like he befriends a rat, and then his monkey Bubbles comes over, and then he goes shopping at a Toys R Us, and it's him and his bodyguard, and he comes back with a bunch of toys, and his brothers are outside playing basketball, and his car pulls up, and he gets out, and he goes, guys, look, I got Twister. And he holds up like the Twister game, and he's like, can we play later? And then his brothers go, oh, well, Tito's going to play some form of Twister later on his date. And then Michael just got discouraged and went and played Twister with his monkey inside.
Yeah,
so.
It's really sort of just a sad sort of, maybe, I don't know, a guy made so much money, who am I to say, but it's just like he was really insulated from life, man. He just sort of stayed in his bubble. And it got to a point, I know it predates you, and your mom certainly can attest to this. I don't know of any superstar, including Taylor Swift, anybody today that got as big as Michael Jackson. Like, that dude could not go anywhere. And as a result, Michael Jordan talked about this in The Last Dance when he was big and owned the world as an athlete. Like, you're so limited, man. Like, you got what you got. You got like a few friends, and then you have to stay indoors, or you stay in your little world, man. And I think a lot of that being cut off lends to sort of that, being a little nuts. You're literally cut off from society.
Do you want to play Twister, Dan?
Fossa, I knew that if I had 3 hours with you, there'd come a point where I would just lose it and you'd make me laugh uncontrollably. You're on your way there with your Michael Jackson. All right, where
is Steve Kerr coming back?
All right, can you get rid of Michael Jackson, please? So Steve Kerr, if Michael Jackson wants to know whether or not Steve Kerr is coming back, I think what's best for this team is that they go in another direction. Again, not an indictment on Steve Kerr. It's just that I want to see this whole thing go in another direction. And a lot of people see that as just an absolute disrespect to this guy, and that who else? Oh my God. There's nobody on this planet that can coach Steph Curry, or you have no idea how much respect he has. I get it. But change happens, man. And change more often than not is a good thing. And you won't know it until it happens. And then when a young mind comes in here, re-energizes this thing, and there's new buy-in, and everybody's, including the media, is like, yeah, this feels good. That's what has to happen, man. And I think we're just hanging on to this. We're hanging on to the past. And it's never good to do that. All right, we continue here. It's time to talk a little San Francisco 49ers. Kyle Shanahan, he divulges things, not to any of us, but to Rich Eisen. I guess you got to be a network guy in order for our man, Kyle Shanahan, to open up. We'll talk about the 49ers. That's straight ahead here on 95.7 The Game.
It's time to spring into deals at Lowe's. Freshen up your yard with Stay Green Premium 2 cubic foot mulch. 5 bags for $10. Then get what you need to keep clothes, food, and dishes fresh with up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an additional $100 on select laundry pairs. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/6. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is...
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA-estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
They're back. Logic and G-Eazy are hitting the road with their Endless Summer Tour Part 2. They'll be making a stop at Shoreline Amphitheater on October 28th. Buy tickets at LiveNation.com. And for your chance to win tickets, courtesy of Live Nation, visit 957thegame.com.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know. Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael. Video Only.
All right, I need avocados, bananas, salad, steak.
Wow, does your grocery list have multiple pages?
No, but I skipped lunch, so now it's like my stomach is doing the grocery shopping. And besides, I'm earning cash back with Upside.
Upside? What's that?
Hold up, you haven't heard of it? Upside is a free app that gets you cash back when you shop at gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants. And they added Lucky and Food Max stores, so we're pretty much covered wherever we go.
All those stores?
Yep, so not only are we getting a great deal on groceries, now we can earn cash back as well.
Okay, downloading Upside. Now let me copy your grocery list.
Great news! Lucky and Food Max are now on Upside. Download the Upside app and use the promo code SAVE9 to earn a 10% cashback bonus on your first grocery purchase. That's promo code SAVE9 for a 10% cashback bonus. Use promo code SAVE9.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Wow, what is all this? These screens, the food.
All for the game, bro.
Let us pitch in.
No need. I'm saving $1,000 bundling my wireless and internet with T-Mobile. I've got it all covered.
Goal!
Here to score big with T-Mobile. Families save up to $1,000 a year when they bundle 5G home internet with 4 phone lines on Experience Beyond. Compared to regular rates after third line free on Experience Beyond plan with internet bundle discount via monthly bill credits and auto-pay discount. Credit stop if you cancel or change plans.
They call this one Bill.
Whoa, aliens? Am I in a spaceship?
Affirmative, Bill.
What's with the laser saw?
Relax. We are cutting our bill in half.
What?
An Xfinity mobile transmission says you can cut your bill in half.
Oh, your mobile bill, not me, Bill.
Ah. Xfinity Mobile also says we can try it free for a year. Free.
Yes, with no commitment. Can we put the saw away?
I am reluctant. But we will find another being to bisect.
That's not sci-fi, it's Xfinity Mobile. Xfinity Internet members cut your mobile bill in half. Plus, try Xfinity Mobile free for a year. No commitment. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings compares one line of Xfinity Mobile Select to comparable plans from T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T as of 3/24/26. Taxes, fees, extra. $30 monthly discount limited to new mobile customers only. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Granger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Granger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Now back to 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back in. It's Dan and the Kid, Devone and the Kid. How's that for a new show going forward? Pasta and Dan? Dan and Pasta?
You got to have a food name, too.
Dan Devone and Pasta.
The Italians. The Mob with Dan Devone.
The Mob. Hey, come on. Don't always associate Italians with the mob. The Sopranos ran into that problem. Hey, so somebody had called in, apparently, and I promise you, this is not someone that is a friend or related to me, and they intimated that there was our man Anthony Slater, who is pretty well-respected and renowned in these parts when it comes to covering the Golden State Warriors, was on a recent podcast with Tim Kawakami, and intimated, and we'll get to it in just a bit, Pasta. I do want to take a call or two, but intimated something that I had pitched and everybody thought I was out of my mind about if the Warriors were to really do this over and really be able to obtain multiple draft picks so that they can identify their stars tomorrow and take advantage of this year's draft, which is as deep, if not deeper than last year's draft, which was one of the best. That's how you hit reset and expedite the opportunity to get back to being a good basketball team again. And I suggested if you were to trade Steph Curry to some place like that of Charlotte, where he's from, because you got to make sure it's a place and a team that Steph Curry wants to go to. And the reason why it would make sense for the Golden State Warriors is all those draft picks that they have. I believe 11 in the next 2 years, 5 first-rounders. That's what it is that you're looking for, to me, because I've said this time and time again, that I don't have the emotional attachment. I don't have the sentimentality when it comes to any player. It's not Steph. Steph is, I don't even want to say Steph is a great player, a great human being. Like, we all know that. I just go hardcore when I'm talking about what's best for team. And apparently, Anthony Slater didn't necessarily echo my sentiment. He sort of will play it and put it in its proper context, but intimated something very similar to that to one Tim Kawakami. But let's continue with the Warrior conversation. I do want to play excerpts of what it is that Slater said on Kawakami's podcast in relation to potentially trading Steph Curry for draft picks. But let's get out to Eric's hanging out in Millbrae. Eric, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on? Well, a couple things on the Dubs. First off, I think the right thing is to bring Steve Kerr back for one last run, just because there's nobody out there on the market that's really that enticing. and no ascending young coach. This is a veteran-laden team, so a first-time assistant coach from another team I don't think would be that great of a fit. Obviously, anybody can coach Curry because Curry's one of one, but you still need a great fit and a shot caller and leader for this team, and I think Kerr's that guy because otherwise you want to go with some retread like Budenholzer. Who's out there? Budenholzer, Luke Walton. What's the guy from the Bulls that resigned? The guy from Florida. Why is his name slipping?
Donovan.
Yeah. I don't want any of those guys. I'd much rather have an established guy who's won many rings and who's already won. Mike Malone would have been enticing, but he already took the Carolina job. So I think that would be the way to go. As far as the Warriors go, I don't think this Lake Up has any sentimentality towards any player outside of Curry. I disagree with you. Curry's untouchable. He's still box office. He's still a great player. Obviously, he doesn't play as much because he's kind of injury prone, but still, that's going to be with any aging player. So you don't touch a franchise one-on-one type player. Anybody else, they're willing to deal. Draymond, you just mentioned one of the guys, Klay Thompson. He was much more beloved than Draymond was. And what do? They moved off Tim, and that really pissed off a lot of people. But to me, the Warriors have shown at the trade deadline they were willing to move Jimmy Butler, Draymond, anybody else for Giannis. But the Bucks didn't want to play ball. So I think the Warriors, outside of Curry, they're open for business. And if there's a possibility they can get a Giannis or even Kawhi, who I don't trust because the guy can't stay on the court ever, and he's such a bizarre guy. You never know anything about him, if he's going to play or not, as he's done with the Clippers. They're willing to make the deal. So I think they're going to go big game hunting this offseason. They got their 2 first-round picks, and they're open for business with anybody on the roster. So the Warriors have shown they're going to be aggressive this offseason, and Dunleavy even said as much. So outside of Curry, they're open for business at anybody in this roster. So I just want to disagree with your point. I think you bring Kerr back. Curry's untouchable, but anybody else on his roster, they're willing to win because Curry with another elite-level superstar like a Giannis, I think can still be a top 3 or 4 team in the Western Conference to contend. So,
hey, Eric,
it's going to be very interesting offense.
Before you go, really good points. Good call, my man. But let me ask you this. Did you know who Joe Mazzulla was before he got the job? Had you heard about Mitch Johnson? Did you know who Mark Daigneault was? Did you know who Ott was? All of these guys, by the way, are getting votes for Coach of the Year. Ott, the head coach of the Phoenix Suns. And my point is that they're out there. We just don't know who they are. I guarantee you within the coaching circle, there are young coaches that are on staffs, or there's young coaches even at the collegiate ranks that maybe we're not familiar with. Yeah, you brought up some of the retreads that a lot of us are familiar with, but there are so many young minds in the game today that I don't necessarily know, that I'm probably unfamiliar with, but they are definitely out there. Like that of the Mazzullas, like that of the Mitch Johnsons, like that of the Mark Daigneaults, all of these guys now who are young coaches that have taken over the league. So when we say who's going to replace Steve Kerr, maybe there isn't an obvious name to you and I that jumps out, but I'm willing to bet that there is a young coach who over the years has strongly made himself a candidate because of the fact that he's innovative, or within the coaching circles, people are well aware of how this guy potentially could be the next guy in line. So I guess it's not as easy to say as, well, who's going to take over Steve Kerr as the next head coach, because there's no obvious person out there. It may not be obvious to you and I, but that young coach is out there. Does that make sense?
Here's my final point with you. Those guys you just mentioned were already established in that team system. So if the Warriors, if you're going to go in a different direction, why not just bring in a guy who's already there on the team in Terry Stotts, who's already an established coach who has a track record, instead of a guy from another team? Those guys you mentioned were already on the system of those teams. They were longtime veteran assistant coaches in those organizations. So if you really trust that they're going to make a hire of a young assistant coach from a different team who can make that type of difference, because he's got to learn a new system, work around Curry and the new cast they're going to have, revamping this whole roster this offseason, I would go with that. But if not, if Kerr decides to step away or move in a direction, you can just go with Terry Stotts, who already has an established name and has already been in the Warriors system for the last couple of years. So he can work around that. So that would just be my thoughts on that. Thanks for the time.
Well, good job, Eric. No, I don't want Stotts, because then you're just settling. As you just said, well, he's here. I mean, it's like Steve Kerr 2.0. I do want to bring in somebody. I don't care if he's on a bench with another team. I don't care if he's in another system. Bring a new system. Like, that's exactly what it is that I'm vying for, is blow this thing up. I love Steve Kerr, but I am a little bit at my, I'm at the end of the rope when it comes to watching the Warriors play basketball offensively. It's just like I can't stand the Celtics playing. Celtics are, they could win go to the Eastern Conference Finals. They're in a game 7 tonight against the Philadelphia 76ers. And you want to know why? Because they are a make-or-miss team. When the Boston Celtics make threes, they win by 40. When they're not making threes, they can go to 7 games and potentially get beat by that of the Philadelphia 76ers. They are a make 3 or miss 3 team, and depending on who shows up or how they're feeling from the outside, so goes the team. And the reason why I mentioned the Celtics is that the Warriors subscribe to very similar type of an offensive approach. And I just want to see it done a different way. I think that idea, the Daryl Morey, the Steve Kerr way of playing basketball, and Steve Kerr revolutionized the sport. Everything that you're seeing the Celtics and every NBA team that has played basketball over the last 5 to 10 years, they have essentially copied and instituted the same philosophy that Steve Kerr brought to the Golden State Warriors. Steve Kerr single-handedly playing to the strength of his team, which was the best shooting backcourt in the history of the sport, with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. They addressed the three-point line like nobody else, and because it's a copycat, homogenous league, everybody else did. And guess what? It's run its course, but the last guy in the room to sort of realize that, I think, is Steve Kerr. The mid-range is back. The big man is back. These innovative coaches that I just mentioned, the Dagnalls, the Johnsons, the Bickerstaffs. Bickerstaff, he doesn't have anybody that can shoot from the outside. He's got Cade Cunningham. But it's a team that does it with defense and just bigs and bullies you. And just, I guess my point is that the game is being played a different way. And Steve Kerr is still hanging on to something that I don't necessarily think works any longer. I thought getting Porzingis was a huge step because now, for the first time in my lifetime, you've got somebody that tall, that good in a Warrior uniform. They've never had a center. As long as I've been alive, they've never had anybody at the center position with a skill set like that of a Porzingis.
And if you go with Terry Stotts and Jerry Stackhouse, Dan, why wouldn't you just stick with Kerr?
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you just sign Kerr to a 2-year, 3-year deal and then you line it up with whatever you want to do with Steph and company?
Absolutely. It has to be different. Oh, so do we have what it is that Mr. Slater, Anthony Slater, was saying on Tim Kawakami's podcast?
We do got it, and I do want to shout out Akko in the YouTube chat, who has been a very healthy version of persistent on this, and I do appreciate that because he's very much helping the show with this because I didn't see it coming in, and it's a new podcast. It's from yesterday's conversation on the TK show, by the way, an Odyssey Sports podcast, Tim Kawakami, so he's with us, and it was with Anthony Slater, so we do have the sound.
Let's hear it.
I'll say this. I think the coaching decision, they're not going to be as blunt, or maybe they are because they're a pretty honest organization, and Steve will have a press conference at some point. But I think the coaching choice could signal to us if they believe they've got something cooking this summer that's going to at least leap them back into playoff contention for, fifth, sixth team in the West. If they think they can make a trade, or they're going to be aggressive and they're going to invest a little bit more in the now, because that's part of the internal debates going on right now is what stage of the arc is this at? They're in this kind of awkward middle phase, which you understand just as well as anyone, which is they should probably rebuild. If you're just being cold hearted about it, let's take, Steph and his history away. He would make sense to trade and get assets and picks and a young guy or two. And as you stare at what the Thunder and Spurs are becoming, this is the time to kind of reset your cycle. Again, if we were playing a video game, we all understand they're not going to do that with Steph. And Steph still wants a specific type of coach and still wants, at least relevant, meaningful, competitive basketball the next few years. And that's why Steve makes sense for that. But that is kind of this awkward push and pull here, because unless you see a surprising move, a path back to immediate relevancy, it kind of profiles more as a team that should rebuild. So, like, you know, that's where I think the awkwardness is.
I'm that cold-hearted guy. I'm that cold-hearted guy that would move Steph Curry. Because that's just how sports is cold-hearted. Guess what? If you want to be friends and you want to be loyal, then you're going to get left behind, man. That's just the way it is. Bill Walsh got that. It's just you have to, you can't be loyal at this level. Listen, Steph is always going to be beloved. He's not going to get traded. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. Because I'm not the GM. He's not going anywhere. Joe Lacob loves him. He recognizes that he's printing money at the end of the day with Steph Curry in a Warrior uniform. And he also understands that he'd get run out of town, anybody that's going to trade Steph Curry. But if you're really to just tear it apart and say, how can this team get back to being good? How can this team challenge potentially OKC and San Antonio, who now sit atop the Western Conference? Now, Slater prefaced it as being cold-hearted. I think it's being logical and pragmatic. They won't do it because of all of the peripheral sort of things that come along with it that have nothing to do with winning basketball. But if I'm the GM, hate me. I don't care. You can vilify me for the next couple of years, but I'm moving somebody that I know would be the quickest way for me to get a bang for my buck. And I got to do it now. Why? Because, well, he's a free agent at the end of this season. And if I'm able to get first-round picks in this year's draft, multiple first-round picks, and I'm picking multiple times in the top 5 or 4, I've just taken, and all of this is risk, because potentially there could be another James Weissman out there, but I've just drastically improved my opportunity, and I've expedited my path to getting back to being a good basketball team. I've just got young players that are now under team control, that are under rookie deals, and I have money now where if I need to go out and get a veteran, I have the ability to do so because we're all hamstrung now with these second aprons. But that is the path forward for the Golden State Warriors. This idea that you want to get better and win another NBA championship and challenge OKC and San Antonio by hanging on to this same team and giving Jimmy Butler $55 million a year, giving Steph Curry, if you re-sign him, upwards to $71 million a year, and then holding on to Draymond Green and rinsing whatever it is you can get out of Al Horford, that this, along with whoever it is that you're going to try and get over the offseason or coerce to come and play with you, like that is going to be the recipe. Jimmy Butler getting back healthy and coming back to this team, best case scenario in April of next year. Like that's what you want to hang your hat on? I mean, you and I are living in two entirely different planets.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think that win, the play-in win against the Clippers, really screwed up? Like, do you think it was good for them to win that game just because of the thought that it put in the heads of fans across the Bay Area and the thought that it put in the heads of people at this station too, to where there was the sense of hope that we could run this back again next year?
That's a great point. I think it was, but it was short-lived because what happened when they had to play a day later against the Phoenix Suns?
It's almost like we talk about, should the Warriors, was it the best thing for them to win that championship in 22? And was it the best thing for the Giants to win in 2021?
Well, winning championships, you always want to win as many championships as possible. But that game specifically is like, yes, wow, they can do it. But can they do it for more than one game? And the answer was no. Because the team that showed up against the Phoenix Suns was old and tired. They had left everything on the floor out in Los Angeles. And that's the issue, is that Jimmy Butler was once a great player. Steph Curry is no longer in his late 20s. Hell, he's no longer in his early 30s. And the same holds true with Draymond Green, and the same holds true with Al Horford. But we have a tendency as fans just to romanticize, like at the end of the day, that's Jimmy Butler. Are you kidding me? That's Steph Curry. Can't trade these guys. Can't go in another direction. These are legends. Not now, they're not. Right now, they're a bunch of old men that inevitably are going, old men, relatively speaking, in terms of the NBA, who are, you can set your watch to it. They're going to suffer an injury. Knock on wood, it's not going to be the extent of what happened to Jimmy Butler, but they're going to get hurt and they're going to miss time. And not only that, but you compromise and you sacrifice a lot defensively, because even when healthy, these guys are not giving you a full 40 minutes of basketball or 35 minutes of basketball. And even when they're on the floor, it has to be very measured. And they know how to load manage throughout the course of a game. They don't go all out. Podziemski, yeah. Will Richard, yeah. These guys, I mean, the young players in this basketball team, the Pat Spencers, they're playing for their NBA lives. They play with their hair on fire. They go right from Jump Street. They sprint the minute they hit the floor. Why? Well, because they're in their early 20s.
Well, you're going to have 3 guys, and then if you get a Kawhi or LeBron, whatever they do, 4 guys who can't play back-to-backs. So
yeah,
it's going to be a different team a lot of the time.
And I know, listen, I know rebuild, it's the 4-letter word, especially when you're talking about the Warriors. But mark my words, just you got to stay with me on this one. When we look back on this, okay, when we fast forward and look back on this little era, this little sort of snapshot of Warrior basketball, 10, 15, 5 years from now, I guarantee if you stay in this direction, collectively, collaboratively, as a family, as Warrior fans, we will say, wow, we really botched that. We really tried to hang on to something that wasn't there. We were like every other dying dynasty, is that we tried to hang on to something that was clearly in the rearview mirror. And as a result, we got behind the 8 ball, and as a result, we're still trying to climb out of that hole. I always mention this, the Detroit Pistons, who pushed it to a Game 7 with a victory over Orlando after being down 3-1 in that series. If they indeed get to the semis, or who knows, maybe they come out of the East. They are the number 1 seed at the end of the day. They have not played well in the first round of the playoffs. Detroit had gone 18 years. I talked about Ben Wallace and that little dynasty that they had with Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups and all those boys. Rasheed Wallace. They won an NBA championship, and then 18 years in between playoff appearances. It wasn't until now. And the point I'm trying to make is that if you make mistakes, man, and you fall into a hole, you could be in there for a very long time unless you get aggressive. And when you have some assets like the Warriors do, and you have an opportunity to, albeit it may not be popular right now, but move off of a popular player and get you some draft picks and draft capital and frees you up financially and makes sense on so many different levels, and you just for now let the emotion and the loyalty and the sentiment go, you give yourself a better opportunity of staying away from falling into the abyss. But this idea of what it is that they're trying to do, man, it is the exact same mistake that every dynasty that preceded the Golden State Warriors have made. Let's talk some football next, Boston. All right. Thank you very much. Give me a little Michael Jackson before we get into Kyle Shanahan and get to the break.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan went on Rich Eisen, and he talked about the hee-hee.
Next on 95.7 The Game.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You need a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. Switch today. Get started with a great offer as low as $60 a month. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Offer ends 6/1/26. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet and security edge. 1-year agreement, eco-bill, and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know. Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael. Video Only.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW-1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Hi, welcome to Sprouts Farmers Market, where we guarantee none of our products have AI in them.
AI? How would food have artificial intelligence in it?
Oh no, I meant AI like artificial ingredients. Isn't that what AI stands for? Guess I've been spending too much time with local organic produce, 100% grass-fed beef, gluten-free snacks, dairy-free milks, surrounded by ingredients with nothing artificial in them.
Oh, that sounds nice.
With zero AI and healthy choices at prices you'll love, every aisle's a healthy aisle at Sprouts Farmers Market.
Looking for a fun and memorable way to celebrate Mom this Mother's Day? Join History San Jose for a Mother's Day tea the whole family can enjoy. Set inside the historic Empire Firehouse overlooking beautiful History Park. Gather together and treat Mom to a delicious spread of pastries, tea sandwiches, and refreshing teas. It's the perfect way to slow down, reconnect, and make lasting memories with the people who matter most. Vegetarian options are available. Space is limited, so reserve your seats today at historysanjose.org.
All right, I need avocados, bananas, salad, steak.
Wow, does your grocery list have multiple pages?
No, but I skipped lunch, so now it's like my stomach is doing the grocery shopping. And besides, I'm earning cash back with Upside.
Upside? What's that?
Hold up, you haven't heard of it? Upside is a free app that gets you cash back when you shop at gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants. And they added Lucky and Food Max stores, so we're pretty much covered wherever we go.
All those stores?
Yep, so not only are we getting a great deal on groceries, now we can earn cash back as well.
Okay, downloading Upside. Now let me copy your grocery list.
Great news! Lucky and Food Max are now on Upside. Download the Upside app and use the promo code SAVE9 to earn a 10% cashback bonus on your first grocery purchase. That's promo code SAVE9 for a 10% cashback bonus. Use promo code SAVE9.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Let's talk about a big win on and off the field. This April, donate blood with Stanford Blood Center and you're automatically entered to win 2 luxury suite tickets for the Giants versus the Diamondbacks on May 25th at Oracle Park. We're talking suite level, great views, all the food and drinks included. Your one donation saves lives, and it puts you in the best seats in the house. Make the call to donate today. Visit StanfordBloodCenter.org for an appointment.
On May 6th, come celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month at the APA Heritage Awards and Gala. Everyone is invited to this amazing community celebration. This year, we're honoring milestone organizations and AAPI youth for their distinct community impact. Stay for the after party, where you can enjoy delightful Asian Pacific cuisine, unique cultural performances, raffle drawings, and more. Find out more information and register to attend at apasf.org. That's apasf.org.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
Now back to 95.7 The Game.
All right, final half hour, and we wrap things up, Pasta. We're talking a little NBA basketball. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Lakers. You have earned the right to get swept by that of the Oklahoma City Thunder. No, they moved on to the semifinals. So, and LeBron played well last night. I know I give LeBron a hard time, but he was re-energized. Now an opportunity.
Maybe he read something before then. You and I always joke about that.
Yeah. One of these days he's going to hold up a book like upside down. So, all right, congratulations to the Lakers taking on OKC. Meanwhile, San Antonio has advanced, and the other semis, they are going to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yeah, Denver. I don't know what the hell happened to Denver. Rudy Gobert. If Rudy Gobert locks up the alien Wemby, then new respect to the Frenchman, as the two Frenchmen will lock horns, by the way. Monsieur Wembenyama and Monsieur Rudy Gobert. All right, we'll talk a little football and the San Francisco 49ers and, of course, the draft, which took place last week. And I said, after that draft, I think I was sort of misinterpreted that I was defending the 49ers. I understand that they've had some issues and they have not had the strongest draft class over the last 5 years, although not every pick. I mean, you have to be fair that they have hit on some guys. But the point that I was trying to make last week is that two things jumped out at me, in that Kyle Shanahan does not give a rip about what it is that we think or could care less about mock drafts, and does what it is that he thinks is best for team. And that sort of held true this past week when he did that interview with Rich Eisen. Before we play the sound with Rich Eisen, what fascinates me is that with all of the local writers, all of the local media personality that cover Shanahan, that know him intimately, that have personal relationships, that cover this guy over the last 10 years now, it's been a decade, that it takes a network guy, Rich Eisen, who tickles him with a feather, and then all of a sudden Kyle Shanahan just gives everything, divulges everything. Usually he's very measured in what it is that he says to the local media. Usually, he's looking to get the hell out of there. You can sort of read his body language. He's not someone that I think enjoys doing this sort of thing, talking to the media or getting in front of a microphone. But lo and behold, here he is on Rich Eisen, and he won't shut the hell up. I don't know. It's sort of a slap in the face to all of us that cover local sports, and specifically the 49ers, that forget about any of us. But if it's Rich Eisen, what do you want to know? Because I'll tell you everything. Let's hear from Kyle Shanahan, and then we'll talk about it. Yeah, and one of the things that he said when he was talking to Rich Eisen and just opened up, I mean, it was like he was on Oprah back in the day. But what he said to Rich Eisen is that he used this phrase, and he used it a couple of times. And he said, right or wrong, like this is what we're going to do, right or wrong. And I just, like that jumped out at me because that's the way he thinks. It's like, like we could be wrong, and you guys can go after us, and you can have fun on your podcast, and you can go nuts because we've made mistakes in the past, but it's not deterring me or Lynch or anybody who's in that draft room or in the war room from doing what it is that they think is best for this football team going forward, or what is best as far as what that current NBA draft where they're picking at that particular time, whatever is best for them, that's what they're going to do. And they do not care about anything else, right or wrong. They don't care that they've missed on the last 5 running backs that they've picked right around that 3rd or 4th round, that they've taken 7 running backs in his 10 years, and really, aside from Elijah Mitchell, and maybe Hyde to a lesser degree, they've gotten wrong. None of that is going to influence Kyle Shanahan. That's the only point I was trying to make. I think it fascinates me that they live in a world according to themselves. Like that's it. They're not influenced by anybody else. They're not influenced by what people consider as reaches or mock draft. They're essentially like, you know what you can do with your mock draft, right? Like it's very particular what it is that they're looking for. Thank you. And the other thing is that, you know, one of the reasons, if I was to read them right, why they had to be aggressive in taking guys that maybe some of us perceive as being too high because they would have been around in the 4th round or in your later picks, is because they had to take the receiver that they earmarked as somebody that they wanted because they didn't want to risk him not being there when they had a pick later in the draft. And he said, if you get a little too cute, then it can come back and burn you. That if the guy's there, you may as well take him. You got to be aggressive and go get the guy. I got some sound?
We do have something on that. Stribling you're talking about, right?
Talking about the Deshaun Stribling out of Ole Miss, the wide receiver. Yeah, so it's important to keep in mind that the reason they traded back, because they wanted to pick at 27, but they needed some things to go their way in order for some of the players that they wanted to fall back to them. That didn't happen. These players got selected before 27, so they decided, let's fall back. Let's fall back again and get into the 2nd round. The other thing that's important to note is the coaching tree, or how incestuous NFL coaching is, because Kyle Shanahan has a lot of guys that have coached with him or in the Shanahan tree that are now coaching with other teams, whether, you know, that's the McVays of the world or whether that's LaFleur or O'Connell. All of these guys, a lot of the coaches in the NFL are all sort of within that Shanahan structure. And what does that mean? Well, that means that they also recognize similar talent, because what they've done is they've built their offense very similarly to what it is that Kyle Shanahan does as far as zone running, as far as the way they want to throw the football, as far as their offensive makeup. These are innovative minds, but it all starts with Kyle Shanahan. And so my point is that these offshoots from that of Kyle Shanahan, these coaches that coached with him or under him, they're valuing the exact same players because their thought process is along the same lines in many instances, like that of the head coach. So he knows that if he doesn't take Stribling now, that there's a good chance that LaFleur, who was picking right after him, is going to get that wide receiver out of Ole Miss, or that one of the coaches that runs a very similar sort of offensive set or is able to sort of find more value out of a player like that of Deshaun Stribling than maybe another coach, that they were going to get aggressive in getting Stribling as well. And Shanahan, he said as much. He got text messages essentially from those very coaches that he's friends with that said, man, we were going to get him. We were going to go after Stribling. He went as far as to say that, Stribling was the first receiver they had on the board, like the best receiver coming out of the draft. So there's a lot of, I guess the point is there's a lot of inner working that we're just not privy to. And I think as fans, we just, you know what the draft has become, and I spend a lot of time in New York, and this happens every year with the Jets and the Giants, is that it's almost become a vehicle for fans to go after management, coaches, GMs, and say, you don't know what the hell it is that you're doing. You make the exact same mistake every single year. And there's nothing wrong with that. Do you at the end of the day? I said this before, like when people were booing Pajemski when he was introduced at a Giants baseball game, I had no issue with that. Didn't make sense to me, but whatever. I'm not going to take that away from you. Fans, if you want to go after a specific player, go ahead, man. I don't want to get in the way of that. And I think that the NFL draft, in a weird way, has also become a little platform for the fans and the rest of us to feel as though we know what we're doing and you don't. And again, there ain't nothing wrong with that. I hope that's just part of the fabric of why we love this sport so much. But I know in New York, you almost get the feeling that there are fans out there and there's a strong contingent that hope the Jets screw up the pick, that hope the Giants screw up the pick, so that all those loudmouth coconuts out of Yonkers or Brooklyn, the Bronx, they can call in to WFAN, or they can get on their podcast, or they can just start screaming at the heavens. Exactly. I don't do a good New York accent, but it's just like, what the hell are you doing? I told you. Bunch of meatballs. It's all part of it. I'm beginning to think that the NFL draft is just another opportunity for us to sound off. But the guys in that war room, I'm sorry to say, they ain't listening. They're just not listening. They don't care that they've missed on the last 10 running backs. If they feel like this is the guy that can help their team right now, they're going to go get him. And Kyle Shanahan proved. That's the one thing I take out of this, is that they do not listen, nor do they care, nor should they at the end of the day. You can't have fans, or you can't have a mock draft, or you can't have the quote-unquote consensus dictate what you should do as a football team. As a football team, you create a style, you create a culture, you create a way, right? Your offense is, something that obviously Kyle Shanahan takes a lot of pride in, and he's looking for specific players that fit into his system. And the consensus does not take that into account. The consensus does not weigh what it is that we're specifically, as this particular football team, is looking for. So if you ask me about the NFL draft and the 49ers, that's it, is that Kyle Shanahan Again, I loved it when he said right or wrong because he's entertaining that there's a chance that I could miss this and screw it up again. But I got to do what it is that I believe in because that's the only way, he can look at himself in the mirror in the morning is that I've got to do things that are according that I have to entrust how I feel this team is going to get better with these young players that I'm drafting. Because at the end of the day, this is my system. This is the way I've been able to be a good offensive mind, and I have to trust and believe in myself and my picks. The only thing that Shanahan has to guard against going forward is that if he continues to miss on these guys as players get older, it can get really problematic if you cannot replenish some of these, the George Kittles of the world and the Trent Williams of the world and the Christian McCaffrey, because that day will come a-calling, and it's not that far away. And you got to be able to plug in some younger players. And really what has saved Kyle Shanahan, and he'll never admit this, but it's Brock Purdy. Because we don't give Kyle Shanahan enough grief for screwing up Trey Lance. Like, he's missed on guys, but Trey Lance is somebody that, it's almost as though he got a pass because of Brock Purdy. But let's keep in mind, while he got Brock Purdy stumbled. They stumbled on Brock Purdy. They didn't go out and get Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy just happened to be there. It's not as though they said, hey, listen. Because if you were to believe what it is that Kyle Shanahan just told Rich Eisen, that you got to be aggressive because that guy may not be there later, they would have gotten Brock Purdy a lot earlier. They would have hey, Brock Purdy's, he's got something. I'm not going to take him in the first round. I'm not going to take him in the third round. I'm not going to take him in but maybe in the fifth round. There's something about this kid. Nah, he was Mr. Irrelevant. They were just essentially all right, who's left? And this quarterback, Iowa State, what the hell, give him a run. And I think that is really, really, I never like to use the luck word when it comes to sports, but call it what you will. The Brock Purdy 49er relationship has helped stave off a lot of what could be sort of the ugly criticism that could have been coming his way when he screwed up Trey Lance and a lot of the mistakes that he's made in the NFL draft. I think he owes Brock Purdy a lot more than whatever they're giving him, $54 million a year. Because Brock Purdy has helped sort of mask a lot of the mistakes that Kyle Shanahan and company have made. And again, it wasn't as though Kyle Shanahan knew something that other people did not. He did to a certain degree because he did at the end of the day draft him. But I think they sort of they stumbled into the dark and ran right into Brock Purdy. And as a result, Brock Purdy has saved their arse. But the 49ers in the draft has come and gone, and they addressed all their needs. And we'll see if he screws up again with the running back and Kevion Black, and if he whiffs again on more offensive linemen. I mean, it's not the fans, and it's not us that are going to criticize him. It's going to be pretty obvious because the team's not going to be very good. Because at some point, George Kittle is going to go away, and Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey and Fred Warner and Dre Greenwald. I mean, it looks as though they're all in on this year, by the way. This is not about, this isn't about tomorrow. This is, here are my chips. That's the middle of the table. Here you go. I'm riding red. Let's go. Like the Kentucky Derby. I'm not spreading my money across the board. I'm not playing the field. This is my horse. This is everything I got. It's win or go home. Because last year, don't forget, they were building a defense. They would never say, well, these young defenders that we got, it's going to take a year or two. So, no, that was last year where they got all those young defenders. Well, we're a year into it now. You got Drake Greenlaw. Why? Well, because Drake Greenlaw is plug and play right now. Everything they have right now is to win today. And I know that's sort of the attitude each and every year with Kyle Shanahan, but I think more so this year, to me, this NFL draft and the way they've done things over the offseason, Mike Evans isn't looking to win next year or the year after. He's looking to win a Super Bowl this damn year. He's 33 years of age. And the same can be said for all of the maneuvers that concern the San Francisco 49ers, that it's 2026, we're looking to win a Super Bowl. Anything short of that is going to be a disappointment. But at some point, you're going to have to hit on some of these rookies or some of these draft picks. You cannot continue this way because it will come back and bite you. Pasa, any thoughts on the NFL draft?
It was fun to work. All week, man. There's buzz.
So let me just get this straight. You go back to your normal schedule next week?
Kind of, sort of. So Monday I'll be here with the roast, and then Joe Spadoni's back on Tuesday. So I filled in on the roast since February 21st because Carter was on paternity leave. Carter comes back. Spadoni immediately goes on. So I'll be kind of back. I'll be at probably more Giants games and helping with the social stuff, being in studio when I need to be. So
what time do you get up Tuesday morning?
Oh, it's a great question. Probably got to be like 10 o'clock.
And more importantly, what time do you go to bed reading a book? Because that's what you really miss.
That's what I miss, going to bed late. Because I've been going to bed about 9:30, 10. That gives me about 5 hours before my alarm goes off at 3:45. I will miss being awake at 1 watching a movie.
Oh, I thought you read. I'm giving you way too much credit.
I do read. I'm reading a Hank Aaron book right now.
You've been reading that thing for about a month.
I have been. Yeah, it's almost done.
What is it about Hank Aaron? Does it go within the racial sort of like all the pressure that guy had to deal with? Which is why your guy, I always forget his name, Jeff Pearlman.
My guy.
Pearlman does this thing on Mark McGwire. And he drops the P word. And, when he was walking down Roger Maris and becoming the all-time home run king, and he was doing it and he was so beloved. And Pearlman mentions this. You have no idea how difficult it was for Roger Maris when he passed Babe Ruth. And they want to put an asterisk next to it because he did it in more games. Babe Ruth was as big as it got. They didn't want anybody replacing Babe Ruth. Roger Maris would get death threats throughout that entire season. Was the longest year of his life.
His hair was falling out.
And then you probably know this much better than I because you're reading about it right now. Hank Aaron went through the exact same thing, being an African-American, and then these records which belong to Ruth, belong to Maris, but also belong to white people, and having an African-American eclipse this was not something. I mean, what it is that he had to deal with compared to Mark McGwire is, I'm sure, part of the book.
He broke the record in the Deep South, and I don't think there's anything, as a black man, as symbolic as what Hank Aaron did. So I think that's super important. And just to reiterate on Mark McGwire, there was a part in that Perlman podcast where he said Mark McGwire grabbed the bat that Maris broke the record with and then tapped it up against his bat and said, "My bat touched Roger Maris's bat." It was a very special moment for him, apparently, but yeah. And I feel bad for that reporter that found the andro in his locker, the Associated Press reporter, because he was chastised. His career was, people got all on him. They were like, "What are you talking about? Why would you do this? Our favorite son, Mark McGwire." But he did the right thing. He wrote about andro.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and Mark McGwire, who, to your point, was marrying himself and getting all emotional with Roger Maris, and he was cheating all the while. Although, the one thing about McGwire, and I'm with Perlman, I can't stand McGwire. We got to get out of here, but he did hit 47 home runs his rookie year.
He was going to hit home runs no matter what.
Yeah,
all those guys were.
That was well before steroids, man.
And then what he said in the courtroom, just...
Oh, God, that was the worst. But he hit, and to Jose Canseco, Mark McGwire, just to defend them for a minute, they hit all those home runs, and they did it at the Coliseum in Oakland. That is not a place where the ball goes out.
By the way, they had been estranged for a long time before we get out of here. They had not talked, said a word for years since Canseco released that book. And last year, they reunited in Sacramento when the A's inducted the big three, Mulder, Hudson, and Zito, into their Hall of Fame. And they took a picture with the famous Bash pose. So they are reunited, and apparently they're talking now.
Yeah, and Tony La Russa went after Jose Canseco. Yeah, it was a mess. All right. That'll do it for my man, Pasa. This is Dan Avone. Hope you enjoyed it. Of course, you know the drill. Coming up on Monday, we do it all over again with the roast and take you right on through the afternoon. And, of course, we'll see you back here next weekend. Until then, this is Dan Avone saying so long, everyone.
Discover Silverado Resort, Napa Valley's playground for those who love to stay, play, and recharge.